bit muffled. Is that a little bit better, guys? Sorry, I had realized I had my stream to Tux Clan. Make sure you hit us up with the hashtag Tux Clan as well as you guys join in. Just as a quick dealio here, last week's Saturday night stream, I showcased the recently released Game Over build part 2. And there's a link in the description area below if you missed that one. And also the full build video for Game Over Part 2, which is the Foundry build that I hacked into a skill build for solo and legendary. That video is released. You can find that on my channel. But anyways, the video gameplay footage I'm going to be playing in the background here is of a brand new build I just put out. It's actually a really rare build. And this one is a classified build. But it's got 6 skill tiers with 45% armor on kill. It's friggin' amazing. So the gameplay footage you're watching here is of me showing how to use it to solo legendary. So it is front to back solo legendary with this amazing build that has 45% armor on kill with 6 skill tiers. It's really strong. It's actually plays real similar to Game Over Part 2, if you know that build, or Game Over, either one of those, if you know that build. It's all about getting out of cover. And the reason why you want to get out of cover is because you want to take advantage of those memento trophies, and any build that can take advantage of those memento trophies is basically going to be OP. So anyways, so that will be playing in the background, but that is not the topic of today's stream. Today, again, we will be talking about the best secondary weapons in the game and discuss how to choose the right one for your build. And if you do, you will be adding more efficiency to your kill time, as well as more survivability to your build, depending on the direction or the build that you're running and the direction that you go. And actually, this topic came up because I was playing with the second Tux Clan on the Xbox. We have 2 Tux Clans on the Xbox. And as we were playing, this idea came up because we were messing around with our secondary weapons, and I was showing one that I sort of just discovered for myself. Not discovered, but just realized that how cool it is. And I was showing one of the other clan members in the Tux Clan, and he was like, wow, this is a good one. I was like, you know what, I should do a stream. So I changed the topic on this one in the last minute and decided to do this showcase of best secondary weapons. I realized that actually nobody's ever really has covered this topic, and it's really important. And there you have a lot of choices, but how you choose, I think some people don't put a lot of choices into their secondary weapons. They're just like, oh, I like this one and I'm gonna use it. But if you want to make your build sort of more efficient, if you want that secondary weapon to really have a purpose, then you need to put some thought into it. And I'm going to help you guys think through those things with some of these recommendations I'm going to give you today. Okie dokie. Anyways, look at this crazy build, right? I'm just running out of cover here. This is legendary, by the way. But let's see who's in the stream before we get started. What's up, Ryan? Am I a little louder, guys? Am I coming in a little louder? I'll check in a minute. I did turn down the music quite a bit. That was probably why I was a little quiet. And I'll turn down the gameplay a little bit too, but hopefully that is coming in a little bit better. I'll check in a minute too, just to make sure that my audio is still loud and clear. Appreciate that, Ryan. Thank you for the help. What up, Wick the Swede? Appreciate you. Master Reaper. Saying I'm a little muffled. Okay. Jacob's audio is good. Okay, so a little mixed replies here. So I'll check in a minute, guys, just to make sure I'm coming in loud and clear, because I don't want to sound too muffled or anything like that. But it sounds like it's working now. It's probably the music was too loud. But that's how I like to kick it off. I like to kick it off with some energy. So you know how it is. Appreciate you, Ryan. Welcome to Tux's Players Club. All right. Everybody give Ryan a shout out. He just joined Tux's Players Club as a Tuxational supporter. Appreciate you, man. Okay, so let's quickly jump over to... Actually, let me pause this quick bit here. And then let's quickly jump over to my main character here. So, okay, so we're going to be covering the best weapons in the game. Actually, let me lower this real fast so I can get a better view. To run the secondaries, and just keep in mind, you know, there's going to be a lot of variables based on what build that you're running. Let's see if I can actually get out of here. I always get lost up here. Does anybody else get lost up here? Or is this just me? I always get confused. Like, where's that little hallway? Why do they make it like the world's smallest little hallway to get out of here? Here it is. Everything looks the same upstairs. So some of this, most of this I'm gonna do here in the testing range. Because I don't want to confuse you guys with any of the builds. So don't really mind the build that I'm running, but we are just going to be focusing on the secondary weapon and talking about the situations that make sense to use it, all right? So the first secondary weapon is probably going to be no surprise, and it is going to be the mop. And the mop is the named 612 shotgun, and it's actually really good. And to be honest with you, I've been using this as a primary weapon as well. But at first, it was sort of always a secondary weapon for me, and I think a lot of people think that way about this weapon as well. But if you build around it correctly, it really does become a really, really good primary weapon. So I do have builds for this. The Furious Mop build, which is a classified build right now, but it will be released eventually to the general public as it matures. But if you are in, if you guys don't know, classified builds are secret builds made just for Tux's Players Club, true and hardcore Bandito member levels. And these are extra builds I make as a thank you for supporting me and the channel and therefore the entire community. Because that's what I do, I build and support the community. So if you want to tap into these secret builds, you can get access today by making sure you're at least a true Bandito member level. So click that join button below. But the Furious Mop is the solo legendary build that you're seeing there in the gameplay footage that we were just watching, and we will continue to watch. But it's focused on the mop. So the mop is the only weapon that has a secondary attribute with armor on kill. You see that 10% armor on kill, and so that's really, 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 really helpful, especially for shotgun builds and SMG builds, of course, because when you're playing close and personal, that a shotgun requires you to do. You need fast kills, fast heals. That's what you need when you're running and gunning, all right? So I don't really have this one modded out, but reload speed is good. I think, well, actually you don't need, if you're running and gunning and legendary, especially, reload speed is actually really important. So, you know, if you put the weapon handling and double the reload speed, you can get this pretty low. My build's got a lot of weapon handling on it right now, the one I'm running, so it's at 1 second, which is amazing, by the way. But yeah, so I'm running preservation on it as an example. You can go many different ways. You can put in sync or whatever, right, on this thing. But preservation on top of that 10% armor on kill means that you're going to get 30% armor on kill with this shotgun. And I think many of you guys do use this shotgun that way. But yeah, it's a really good way. So you got to get the headshot kill in order to get the extra 10%. So if you get a body kill, you're gonna get 20% armor on kill. And if you get a headshot kill, you're gonna get 30% armor on kill. But 20% armor on kill is enough. So the cool thing about this gun is that it brings all the survivability that you need for a build if you use it as a primary weapon. Now, if you're using it as a second weapon, it's sort of like an, oh shit, oh no, I need some life real quick, and then you're gonna switch to it and just quickly you know, take out your nearest enemy, right? But let's see what that 30% armor on kill looks like, right? It's gonna look pretty fancy, so got to get that headshot kill. And it's, oh, by the way, preservation is it does happen over a few seconds, right? It's not super immediate, so you get the 10% armor on kill immediately, and then you get preservation. Now I'm running gunner there, so I'm also getting another 10%. So when I get a headshot kill, I'm actually getting 40% armor on kill. And so you probably run gunner a lot, and so that's a lot of kill, a lot of armor on kill. So anyways, so really good secondary weapons. I don't think this one's a big surprise. We're starting with the easy ones, and then we're gonna work our way to some that are actually probably really gonna surprise you. Jaco, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream, Jaco. Armand Rosses, welcome, brother. Kravitz, appreciate you, man. Welcome to the stream. Master Reaper, good to see you. Big Boss, welcome. Steven Johnson, if I didn't already say, and George Noble, my little minion. What up? What's going on, Typhoon? Good to see you. Good to see you. So, what do you guys think of the mop? Any of you guys use this shotgun as a secondary, or how about a primary? How many of you guys have used this as a primary? And And you remember to switch to it. Ciao, Pietro. Welcome, brother. So, but yeah, I really like the mop. It's sort of a hidden secret, I think, still, even though it's been out for, you know, whatever, like a year. Because I think a lot of people are just using it as a secondary weapon. And I'm suggesting you do use it as a secondary weapon if you're playing it nice and tight. But, you know, what's really nice about the mop, and you're seeing gameplay, that's me using the mop right there. And this is legendary, guys. But it staggers the enemy. It staggers them, and it keeps them from shooting at you. It's got the rate of fire to stagger them. But watch me take on these guys. I'm using the mop here as a primary weapon. So this is a really good showcase of how to use it, but as a primary weapon or secondary weapon. But, you know, it's going to give you that extra life. But what's really nice is it's got the kill power, it's got the stagger power, it's got the rate of fire. But also really important is that it's got a fast reload. And that's really important when it comes to adding survivability to your builds, right? Is like, you know, some of these shotguns are great secondary weapons because they got that stopping power. But the problem is that if you get caught in a reload, then, you know, it becomes basically useless, right? Becomes more of a hazard because you're sitting there stuck reloading. But yeah, the spray pattern's pretty nice. But if you really want to get the stagger stopping power of the mop, then you do want to play nice and close. You want to play inside 10 meters. That's how you get the full effect, basically, of the shotgun. So when you play outside of that, it still does a decent job. Watch, so I just sniped that sniper with the shotgun. If you notice that, I mean, he didn't have much life, but it's still possible to kill at range with this thing. It's just not really effective. And then you can get into ammo troubles. Watch it. Here comes a double kill with it. So that means we would get double the armor right there, right? So double kill. One of those was a headshot kill. So I'm not running preservation on this one. I'm actually running in sync, which gives it nice little burst damage. But that was also a headshot kill right there. If I was running preservation, we would have just gotten 60% armor on kill back to back with that little dealio. So Armand says, personally, I do like the mop. Use it a lot as a second weapon. Yeah, I bet most of you guys do. I use the mop mostly to save me very often. Pietro says, yep. Renee, welcome. Welcome. Mop with in sync with armor on kill skill build is a win. That's exactly what I'm running here, Renee. So this is a solo legendary skill build. It's got 45% armor on kill when you use your gun. It's got 35% armor on kill when your skills get a kill. And so the difference there is whether you have the mop or not. But I'm running in sync, and it does give it really, really good burst damage. Okay, so let's pause this real quick, and let's take a look at the second really OP backup weapon. Okay, so this one is called the Emmeline's Guard. It's based off of the P90, and I'm sure you guys know this one, and hopefully you're not sleeping on it, because this is actually a really good SMG. So so the Emmeline's Guard, let's see, does it have a special skin? No. So I'm running solid black on it, but you know, you can make a hard candy pink if you want to roll pink. Super manly. But so it comes with SMG damage and crit chance, so that's gonna be really helpful. So you know, as a secondary weapon, that it brings all the crit chance with it that you probably need for your build, so that's really helpful. And then I like mine with damage to targets out of cover. I almost run that on every weapon if I can as a secondary attribute there. You see that? And then so what Emmeline's Guard gives you is just like the mop, which we rolled onto the mop. This one gives you armor on kill as well. So we're starting with armor on kill for these builds. So it's a good thing for backups, right? If you remember to use it. Now the hard thing is a lot of us run builds where we forget to use our secondary weapons, or our primary weapons don't allow us to switch, right? And we're gonna talk more about that, because that's what I'm talking about, synergies. Like, you want your secondary weapon to have synergy with your build, right? And if your primary weapon doesn't allow you to switch, then that's where your secondary weapon becomes basically useless, right? And what I'm talking about is, like, for many primary weapons, if you switch, you lose whatever buffs that you were building up to or procced, right? So like pummel, let's talk pummel. So if you're running pummel shotgun and you know you get 3 kills, right, and then you get that 40% weapon damage or whatever it gives you, if you switch to Emmeline's Guard, you lose that extra 40% weapon damage. You also lose the progress you had on activating pummel again. So if you had 2 kills and you only need 1 more, you would lose all of that. What's up, Mr. Detective? Welcome to the stream. Zeke, good to see you. Welcome, guys. So this one, what the perfect version of preservation. So we had preservation on a mop, which gave us 20% armor on kill from the talent, right? And so this one gives you an additional 2% for a headshot kill. So now, and 2% for body shot kill. So we get actually 24% armor on kill. Now the thing is that this is that P90 variant. And so this is a really good SMG. Basically, if you like the Vector series of SMGs, and then because of how fast they are, but you're disappointed about how underwhelming in power they are. They're not underwhelming, but they do lack power, right? And so, and a little bit of handling, or what do you call it? Optimal range, right? So they like that. And so if you love the MPX, but you wish it was faster, right? The Emmeline's Guard sits right in between the MPX, the SIG MPX, which I know is a lot of you guys' favorite, and the Vector, which I also know is a lot of you guys' favorite, right? That's like the Dark Winter. I mean, who doesn't love that gun, right? So Emmeline's Guard sits right between those when it comes to power and speed. It's right in the middle. And so, and it is a fucking laser beam. Now my build is really helping, so, you know, don't read into it. So the only thing with preservation, notice it takes a little bit of time. It's not super instant. Now we are getting 10% armor kill instantly because I'm running gunner, so keep that in mind. So we're getting 34% armor on kill right there. That's what that is, guys. 34% armor on kill. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So anyways, lovely gun. If you guys, it's also really nice because it has that burst. It's a really good burst with it. So, you know, if you're trying to dissuade enemies from flanking you or from trying to rush you, then this weapon does a really good job. But also, you know, if you pop out of cover and you know you're gonna take damage when you pop out of cover, and then you're gonna accept that damage. You're gonna be okay with it because Emmeline's Guard is gonna give you your armor back. So you're like, oh shit, I got 2 guys rushing me, and as soon as I pop out of cover, they're gonna kill me. Then you're gonna be okay with that. Now you can of course blind fire, you know, but you know, you're gonna get more accuracy and better kill time if you true fire, right? So the guns with armor on kill are nice to have because they're gonna bring all that life back instantly. Okay, now I'm running a lot of weapon handling. The RPM is actually less than what you see here. I think it's something more like, I think it's 900, right? So I've boosted the RPM on this because of my build. So keep that in mind, and the handling and all that, because I'm running 3 pieces of striker. So it is faster than, the stats on it are boosted. So keep that in mind. But we're just looking at that armor on kill. Anyways, it does handle really well. You don't need striker for it to work. It's a really good one. So where to get this? Does everybody know how to get the Emmeline's Guard? It's who is Emmeline, by the way? Does anybody know who Emmeline is? Anybody in chat? Who's Emmeline? Let's see if you guys got the answer to that. Somebody tell me who Emmeline is. You should have encountered her in story mode. Or no, maybe not encountered her. Actually, I don't think we encountered her. Maybe her body. I think we encountered a lot of the those little recordings, you know, whatever you call those things that out in the field. I think she's got a daughter too. I think we save her daughter or we look for her daughter. But let's see. So Steven Johnson says Outcast leader. Is that right, guys? What other weapon does she yield besides this nasty little SMG? There's a video clip of it, right? She's pretty hardcore, Emmeline. Armand says some kind words here. Just wanted to mention that I really enjoy your content. And most of my builds are from your videos. I love your content. All my clan on D2 watches your videos. It's about 10 to 12 members. And I hope all are subscribed. Me too, Armand. Those are really nice words, man. I appreciate you doing the shout out like that. That helps me go, man. You guys' support. I'm here. I'm really here about the community. I love building the community. That's why I like, I really appreciate all you guys who have joined Discord and who help support Discord, and also all the clans. The clans got really big. I mean, we just opened the Xbox clan the other day, and the newer of the two Tux clans is already at 28 and growing members, and that's like overnight, basically. And then the other Tux clan we're at 42 members. So, so we're pretty strong at the Xbox. PlayStation is relatively new too. I think the clan is about 3 weeks old now, and it's the second one is 3 weeks old, and it's I think almost full. And the first clan is basically topped out as well. And I'm sure there's a little bit of space on both of those just to keep people coming. But yeah, really good stuff. And PC is holding strong. We got a really good leader on PC. Appreciate Boston over there. So he holds it down and also does a really good job of making sure none of your questions go unanswered on Discord. So Latina, who's one of the leaders on the PlayStation clan and also helps out with the Xbox clan, just dropped a link. So if you want to head over to Discord and get involved, you should. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. And if you're not familiar with Discord, it does take a couple of minutes to sort of learn how it works. But it's just a social media app for gamers, right? So people that are like-minded and love the Division 2, it's a good place to meet new folks. But also we talk about builds a lot, so we're a little bit different than other Discords, and same with our clans. We're just not pure raiding clans. A lot of it's just about building up the community, meeting good people, just having a good time. But we sort of, I would say, there's a lot of build connoisseurs on our Discord too, and not in a stuck-up kind of way. It's in a really fun and community building kind of way, where we're like, hey, let's share our builds, and people post a build and say, hey, this is what I got. Anybody got any suggestions? And some people say, hey, this is what I got. You should run it this way because it's really fun. But I think that being around a really good, positive community is important right now because the game is a little bit dry. We're getting news and all that stuff, but we get news, and I'm sure you guys have heard this, but we'll drop news and we'll be talking about it, and I'm excited, man. I mean, any change is good for me. I mean, anything, right, is great. I'm just, how do you say, what's the word, gracious or whatever. But, there's a lot of negative Nancy's out there, right? And so we get news and people are like, oh, Division's dead. It's just like, really? It doesn't seem dead, and the only people that say that are the ones that aren't playing the game, right? And that's probably because they didn't figure out that this game has infinite possibilities. You can play the same content over and over again because the content is also within the builds, and there's so many builds that have yet to be discovered. I'm still discovering builds, guys, and I've run everything. I really have. I've run everything. I did all the meta builds, all of them, in the dark zone, out of the dark zone. I did all the meta builds, right? But the world really opens up. I feel like you graduate. All the meta builds are, I don't want to say for newbies, but they sort of are in my eyes, right? That was the easy place to start. And I recommend you do start there because you need to know what the meta feels like so that when you go and start creating your version of build diversity, that what maximum power looks like, or what maximum tank feels like, or what maximum status effect build is like, because you want to blend these builds or make hybrids or whatever you're doing, and you need to know how much power you're losing or gaining, right? So that's what those builds are important for, and and they are important for when you're doing things like raids or whatever, because those people don't know you, right? And you don't know them or whatever, and so when you join up with a random raid crew, then that's why they say, oh, you got to run this prescribed build. And I get that part when you're random to that group or new to that group, because they don't know you from Sam, and they need to at least eliminate that variable, that your build is optimal for a raid. Not the best build for a raid, just optimal for a raid. And that's what everybody sort of agreed on is, you got to run this meta, right? You got to have the Contractor's Gloves and the Fox's Prayers and crit chance and crit damage and M1A or whatever. And so it's not the funnest of builds, but they're just eliminating a variable. And then once, of course, you build a relationship with a raid crew, then, people just let you run whatever, right? Unless they're trying to do some sort of world record, then everybody's got a prescribed build. But, once they have confidence with you, they just know, they know you know what to do, they know your role, and the truth is that you can run any build in the raid. You can run an all purple build in the raid, and I'm pretty sure you can complete it. Anyways, Tux Clan members. So if you're out there, Well, we now have Tux clans on all platforms. So 2 on Xbox, 2 on PlayStation, and a strong PC clan. In a time where clans are dying, these clans are thriving thanks to some really great leaders and a solid community, you guys. So a chat, if you're in a Tux clan, give a Tux clan, or hashtag Tux clan shout out so people know who you are. If you want to get involved, you other folks, then you could do so by hitting us up on Discord. That's the best place to get acquainted with the clans. And so since we now have clans on all 3 platforms and multiple clans, there is a place for you. So, okay, let's take a quick look at, give me a second here. Let me grab the next weapon and then we will switch over to take a look at that. And we do have a couple of surprises, so stay with me here because I can't wait to show you a couple of these. It's going to sort of blow your mind. All right. So the next one, okay, again, so we're talking about secondary weapons and that help improve your efficiency either in time to kill or in survivability or both, right? So we're looking at, for this one, is the apartment. Now, the apartment is a Dark Zone exclusive weapon. You can also get this from farming named item caches, and the best way to get named item caches are from these events, these global events. We just had one, which was reanimation, and we're sort of in a little bit of a break, but we will be getting new content in somewhere around the middle of December. I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be the 15th or the 21st, but there's usually a 2-week break between seasons. And so they're going to give us a makeshift season that's going to be, I believe they're going to allow us to replay some of our favorite events, and we'll see if they get that right. But they're also going to give us a holiday apparel event, and it's going to be a new apparel event. And that apparel event is not going to be recycling stuff that we've had before. So just looking at apparel, this mask that you see I'm wearing there, that's from an apparel event. Another example is this Christmas mask is from an apparel event. Let's see, this was from a seasons reward track. This black balaclava was from an apparel event. So these are some of the things that you can get from apparel events. Same with this one. It's a little COVID mask for you. Season event. This was a former this grizzly, and then you get more than that. You get outfits. So like pretty cool stuff like this grizzly shirt. I'm sure many of you have those. If you're just not joining the game, then you've missed out on some of this stuff. Hunter's Fury, some of this stuff like this Hunter Fury outfit. I think the Hunter's Fury outfit came off a rewards track. Correct me if I'm wrong there. It might have been an apparel event, but I think it might have been a rewards track. So, you know, so a lot of this stuff, some of this stuff I've purchased with the little credits that you get. But a lot of these things were also from apparel events. I really enjoy apparel events. I like my character to look good. You know what I mean? Or like a badass or something. But anyways, okay, so back to this. So this is the apartment. Again, it's a Dark Zone exclusive weapon, and it is one that's highly sought after. So you should be farming for this. I do have a build for it. It's called Amped, where I roll in a bunch of I maximize amplified damage for this build. And it's a shredder, so it comes with perfectly measured. So first of all, it's a SIG MPX, which is a variation of the SMGs that most everybody loves, right? And so again, the RPMs are a little bit higher, I think, than it's based at, because I'm running 3 pieces striker. But I think this one's at, it's either, I think it's 850 is the base RPM on this. But what perfectly measured does is that the top half of the magazine has a 20% rate of fire and a negative 27% weapon damage. The bottom half of the magazine has a 20% less rate of fire with 33% total weapon damage. So what it's basically doing is it's blending the best of both worlds, right? So on a vector, so it's basically making a vector out of it on the front end, and then making it like a M1928 SMG on the back half of the magazine. That makes sense. So, and it actually raises a lot of good points. I'm not going to talk about this for hours because, and I'm actually in one of the builds that I'm creating for you. I'm going to show you that actually weapon handling, when you have enough of it and RPMs with those stats, that it's actually pretty indistinguishable from the meta build. If you run like a max weapon handling build, your time to kill is so fast that it is hard to distinguish that build from the meta build running perfect glass cannon. So you guys are probably thinking I'm freaking crazy, but what I'm trying to tell you is that weapon handling, because you land so many shots, even though you have less damage, your time to kill is really, really fast. So fast, your eye cannot tell the difference between it and Perfect Glass Cannon, all meta build with Fox's Prayers and Contractor's Gloves. So I'm going to show you guys that in this next week. But that's basically what the apartment does. It's blending both of those worlds. It's blending power and it's blending speed, DPS to give you the best of both worlds. And so it's just fast. Now I'm running this on normal mode. Let me pump it up to an elite here so you can see. But it's really fast. Again, I have a little higher RPM than that's normal there because I'm running a striker and the handling is going to be a little bit better. But it's a really good weapon. And so the reason why this is a great second, it's also a great primary weapon, by the way. But the reason why it makes a really good secondary weapon is because the talent, and this is important right here. So listen to what I'm saying, because this is the part that people don't think about a lot, and I see this a lot. The talent does not require a kill. So it activates off the first bullet, right? That's important. So the armor, so that's why I started with the Mop and Emmeline's Guard, because those serve a different purpose. They require a kill, but your point is armor on kill. So of course you need the kill to get the armor on kill. Now the apartment and most secondary weapons, unless they're serving a very tactical, specialized purpose, right? You don't want to kill for it to activate. You need your secondary weapon to immediately be active. And then you don't want it to kick in anything on a kill because it's a secondary weapon. So you're not going to stick with it. You're going to flop back to your primary weapon, right? So this is a really good example. So I'm running the Rail Splitter as a primary weapon. And this is synergies between the first and the second build, okay? Is that the Rail Splitter is, and this is an accidental synergy. I didn't set this up, it just coincidentally. The Rail Splitter is what? Better at range. It's an assault rifle, so it gets more range, right? But it also happens to be a high RPM weapon. But in the apartment is an SMG, so it's better for higher stake situations, close range, right? When somebody is flanking you or whatever, and you need to just quickly kill or burst them out of your way. And so they complement each other, right? I'm not running another, like a rifle and an what do you call it? An assault rifle and a regular rifle or whatever, which those sort of complement each other too, because obviously the rifle gets range, or like a shotgun in an apartment, and a shotgun in an SMG, you know, they're both close range, but these are complementing each other, and that one's getting long range and one's getting short range damages. But what's really important is that when the Rail Splitter's talent, perfectly accurate, activates off of the first bullet. It does not require a kill, right? And then so when I switch to the apartment, it's activated right away, does not require a kill. So I can get my accuracy out of my my Rail Splitter and then switch over without requiring a kill. I immediately get my talent active, and I am one-clipping that guy. One-clipping him, which is amazing. That's an elite. So, and that's what you want. You want to be able to one-clip an elite. So, and these things is pretty legendary. Obviously, he's not moving, and he's standing still, and he's right in front of me. So, you know, don't be too impressed. But the point is I look at the Rail Splitter, look at how much powerful it is at close range, okay? So, look at the Rail Splitter, really powerful. We got about 12 bullets left. Now let's switch over here. 18 bullets left, right? Now let's look at the mag difference. So 50 in the chamber, 50 and 50. So they have the same size mag. And that shows you that the apartment was stronger at close ranges like that, right? Because the how many rounds we had left is an indicator that it has a higher DPS. And that's because it's blending speed and power, where the Rail Splitter is doing all power and all speed and accuracy. So that's the prime example of complementing each other. But what I want to, so my point is, just to sum it up here, is that you don't want your secondary weapon to require a kill unless you're doing something very specific with it, like the Grudge, and we'll get there. But you do not want your secondary weapon to require a kill. And if you plan on using your secondary weapon a lot, you do not want your primary weapon to have stacks that would be lost if you switch to your secondary weapon. An example would be the Chameleon, right? So if you run the Chameleon And I actually think I have that. So I can show you right here. Okay, so let's build some stacks on the chameleon. I think the chameleon loses it, right? So, okay, so we got some stacks. Let's activate that. So we just got a bunch of crit chance and crit damage. Now let's switch. You know, we get our kill, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Come back to the chameleon. Gone. You see that? That sucks. That sucks. We lose that effort, right? Now, in the testing range, it's not a big deal because the guy's just standing there and it's like really easy to activate. But in the real world, that's hard to get those headshots. How many headshots does it take? It takes 30 headshots, right? So you gotta work hard for your money. Work hard for your money. Sorry, tangent. But so that's hard to do. So it's really important that you think about your secondary weapons and your primary weapons, and that if you plan on using your secondary more often than not, then you don't want to have a primary weapon that loses its stacks, right? And so there's a lot of weapons like that. So let's just say you're running like the Dark Winter as your primary weapon, right? And so if you're running the Dark Winter as your primary weapon, the Dark Winter requires a kill that gives you, what is it, 50% more crit hit damage on kill, right? And now, all of a sudden you switch to your mop shotgun, you lost that 50% crit damage. It will not carry over to your other weapon. It requires that weapon to be equipped in hand, basically. So, anyways, guys, you look at this mop build. Again, this is the Furious Mop. 45% armor on kill, 6 skill tiers. Freaking amazing. 45% armor on kill when you kill with your gun, 35% armor on kill when your skills get kills. And solo legendary, and it just shreds. So my secondary weapon in this example is a really good example. Okay, here's a good example. So the primary weapon is the mop, and I'm running in sync, right? The secondary weapon is the police M4, which is giving me distance, something the mop doesn't offer me. Correct? So the mop is great, aggressive gameplay, lets you pull in close, but there are many times where I need to use the SMG for maybe because you got a sniper or a drone operator, they're at range, but also if you look at the stats on a shotgun, you get damage to armor as one of the main attributes. On an assault rifle, you get damage to health. So in legendary, it's a good compliment because in legendary, when I'm fighting a chunga or a tank or a warhound, I want that damage to health because that's the kind of damage that they take. So, so that's another really good example. But again, talking about the talents, these talents synergize. The primary and the secondary weapon synergizes really nicely because I'm running in sync. So in sync will stop when I switch weapons for a second, okay? But the skills are still out, so they're still going to be proccing their share of in sync. But as soon as I land one bullet from the secondary weapon, in sync is back to fully proc. So the amount of time that the talent deactivates is basically negligible. You know, so that's another example. You know, and another thing is like on this build I'm running spotter, and so so both weapons, the primary and the secondary, synergize. So I don't lose spotter when I switch to the police M4 because it can also handle the linked laser pointer that basically pulses enemies when you point at them. So both weapons allow for that, which means I don't lose spotter. Something to also think about. So your mods, you got to think about your mods too, right? Let's just say we're talking crit chance or crit damage. You got to make sure your secondary weapon, if you're running a crit build and your secondary weapon doesn't have the slots, you got to know if you're going to be okay with that. You know, if you're relying on armor on kill and you can't get the kill because you no longer have crits because your second weapon only has one weapon slot, you know, is it going to work for your build? So think about that kind of stuff too. So you can't just slap on anything. You know, you can't for your builds. You got to think it through, and if you do, it makes a big difference on your survivability. I mean, in legendary solo or in group play, you know, if you use both weapons, you should be a more efficient player. All right, so let's take a look at the next bad boy here. So this one is this is a beast. This is a beast. You've probably heard me talk about it a bunch, but this is the M1928. All right. So I'm gonna run through this and then I will get back to you. I'm gonna scroll through the chat, make sure I answer your guys' questions. If you do have a question and you haven't asked it yet, then make sure you type in the word question before you ask your question. It catches my eye and it makes it easier for me to scroll through. So if you could do that, I'd really appreciate that for efficiency's sake. So because I do want to get to all of your guys' questions. So anyways, the M1928, okay? So I did do a video series called If It's Wood, It's Good, and it was a live stream. And we talked about that. Basically, if you get a weapon that drops in the open world and it has wood on it, then the odds are it's one of the best weapons in the game. And that's exactly what the M1928 is, okay? If you don't know about this weapon, I did a build on it where I showed you how to get 2.8 million crit damage with this beast. 2.8 crit, no tricks. It's just a really good crit build using the M1928, which is the SMG with the highest base weapon damage in the game. So this has the highest base weapon damage for an SMG in the game. So SMGs, again, come with crit chance already on it. Now, most people, I think, aren't attracted to this because one reason is it doesn't have any mods. It only has that one mod slot. But you're okay with that. We don't need it. We do not need it. It is just really good. Because of the base weapon damage, it's just really good as it sits. You're going to have to add a little bit of crit chance onto your build, but it brings all the damage that you need. Okay, so and the other reason is the RPMs are a little low. It's actually the base RPMs are 600. Remember, I'm running 3-piece striker here, so sorry if that's a little bit confusing. But I roll damage to targets out of cover like I always do, and SMGs, that's really ideal. But Strained is the best talent for this. You can also run Optimus if you're not a fan of Strained for some reason, but Strained is the best. In fact, this with Strained is stronger than the Cold Relations. So the Cold Relations is... let me just show you that here. So the Cold Relations is a named, I can't remember the name of this SMG variation, but it's the name. It's a named SMG, and it's got. I'm sorry, I should be doing a comparison. Okay, so the M1928 on the left, Cold Relations on the right. You see that? Okay, so the Cold Relations. Look at the difference there between the Cold Relations and the M1928 base weapon damage. Okay, and then so the Cold Relations has a higher RPM than the M1928, but it also comes with perfect strain, which can give you up to 80% crit damage. So that's all the crit damage you need. Again, this is a talent, and the reason why I'm running it, showing you this talent, Strained, is because it doesn't require a kill. It starts activating the talent off of the first bullet. So when you switch to this, if I was running the Rail Splitter and then the M1928 was Strained or the Cold Relations, my talent kicks in right away. And that's what you want to happen from your secondary talent. You don't want it to require a kill or whatever. So, but the deal is here. This is what you need to know, all right? Is that the slower the weapon, the better Strained is, right? And so that you don't want that added RPM from Cold Relations. What ends up happening is you don't actually peak out at that 80% crit damage. Maybe you get one bullet off at that, and you hope that bullet crits. So... it's definitely not a guarantee. So it's basically a waste. And so in the end, DPS DPS numbers, the M1928 ends up being stronger because that base weapon damage is higher off of the first bullet and then continues. So even though you're 30% less crit damage, you end up putting out more damage with the M1928 than you do with the Cold Relations. So really good weapon. I call it a freight train because it just hits hard. It's really steady. You can actually hit at really good distances because of the fire pattern on it. It's really steady. It's almost like an assault rifle. So slow and steady. But anyways, a lot of solo legendary players use this, and that's how I discovered it. I learned about it because as I was studying how to do solo legendaries and watching other experienced solo legendaries play, I saw one or two guys using this as a secondary weapon, and I was curious about that. I was like, why is he using that one? That's an interesting choice. And I used it, and I was like, oh yeah, I get it now. This thing is a freaking animal. It's a freight train, basically. I mean, you just plug through enemies. You got really good accuracy. But yeah, so basically when, you play at range, and how solo legendary guys use it, and how I use it is that when you're playing and then that Chunga starts pulling in range where his stingers start getting you, then you basically switch over to this thing, and then you just finish them off. I mean, so here's an elite. Let's take a look. So with strained, let's see how many bullets we have left. 29 bullets. So basically, it only took 21 bullets to take out that elite. Obviously, those are all headshots, and he's not moving. So 20 bullets to take him out, right? Because we got 15 in mag. You see that? So really efficient gun, very strong, steady. This is one. You actually, it makes a really good primary weapon too, by the way. So you should check out that build. I put it out a while ago. It's been a couple of months, but it shows 2.8 million on the cover because that's what I got this thing to crit at. Pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. I mean, this is not an optimized build actually. And it's hitting at almost 700. Almost 700. Over 700. That was 705 right there critting. So pretty good. Okay, so let me get to your guys' questions because I'm sure you have some or comments. So I'm gonna scroll through these here. Thanks for those guys who did the clan shoutouts. I appreciate you guys. Typhoon, Master Reaper, Base Connor. Also for giving Latina a shout out. For helping out. Good job, Aaron Reed. Yeah, so for those of you guys, Emmeline's guard, Emmeline is the leader of the Outcast. The other weapon she yields, what I was commenting to, I'm not sure if anybody got this, is the hammer. So if you've seen those faction clips, those these little mini movies on the factions, Emmeline has, I think, one of these scientists that was working on the plague. And she ends up, bashing his head in with the hammer, and then she passes the hammer on to all the other, outcast dudes, and they one by one hit the guy in the head with the hammer. It was pretty gruesome. Anyways, that's the other weapon I was alluding to. So Emmeline's guard, yeah, Emmeline is the leader of the outcasts, and that's her gun. And then also, I think if you recall, in some of those little video clips, or audio clips that you pick up throughout the game. I forget what we call those. Echoes. I think she's got a daughter. We end up encountering her along the way, but her name comes up quite a bit. We end up hearing her daughter's conversations and stuff like that. So, final boss on is Emmeline the final boss on Man Zoo? God, it's been so long since I played that. Like in story mode. Wow. Good job, Aaron. That's great, because I totally forgot about all of that stuff. Yeah, Typhoon. Yeah, the rail Typhoon mentions that. Yeah, so the rail splitter, which is the assault rifle I was showing you for a minute, but that's not on the list for secondary weapons, even though it makes a great secondary weapon. But that is a Dark Zone exclusive weapon. But it used to be different. It actually used to have perfectly measured on it. Which is funny, but now the apartment has perfectly measured on it. But yeah, the rail splitter used to have perfectly measured, and now it's got perfectly accurate, which is 50% more accuracy. Now the rail splitter is a very dangerous weapon. That weapon kills hard, and I think it's those that have it and use it know it, and those that don't. It's just like one of those things, and so. I'm telling you right now, the rail splitter, and you'll see me use it. I just use it. There's a build called All Amped Up, and it's a build that I created with 3 pieces striker, perfect glass cannon, and I also use perfect clutch to also show you that clutch is actually really amazing, and it's also being slept on if you use it correctly. And that is, you need to land your shots, and you need a high RPM. And that's what the rail splitter brings you. It brings you both of those, right? Because it's got 50% more accuracy. And if you mod it out, the gun itself will bring you 70% more accuracy just from that gun if you use the mods in your favor. So yeah, good call, Typhoon. Yeah, I used to have perfectly measured. But I'm okay the way it is. I like the way it landed out. Just because I've been using it lately, and I love the thing. Let's see here. Six Atomic. So Six Atomic says, I always get a police M4 when I play rock and roll in my apartment. The police M4 is really good. Actually, it's really hard to get those police M4s to drop nicely. I don't know if you ever farmed the police M4. Police M4 is a really good assault rifle. It's got excellent accuracy. That's what I'm using right here. It's got really good accuracy. And I'm using it because I'm fighting those dogs and they take health damage, and it's just a better way to play. And also when I feel like I need the RPM, I switch over to that outside of the mob. But really good one. But also, if you notice, I used it for the non-elite. He's a red guy, and they take more health damage. And then now notice I'm switching over to the mob because a veteran takes damage to armor. And so the shotgun ends up being more effective on vets and elites. So I'm using both my weapons. Again, that's a way to make sure you're using the synergies of your weapons. One's got damage to armor, one's got damage to health. So if I want to kill reds really fast, then I whip out the police M4. But not that you need to. I mean, they're pretty easy to kill as they are. But I definitely use it for the tech a lot. So, and also, you know, when you want to conserve ammo, like if you're doing something like playing solo legendary and you don't have access to ammo crates all the time, then, you know, switching weapons is going to save you a ton on ammo too, to make sure you do that. It sucks to run out of ammo, right? Yeah, did I say, Mr. Detective, did I say clip? I get stuck saying clip a lot. I know the difference. The mag and, you know, clips are basically on the very older rifle variants. You know, from like World War II, World War I era. But I feel like saying to one clip a guy, you know, I one clipped him, that's just a saying, right? It's just a saying. It's just a saying. It's not the terminology isn't accurate, but I feel like it's just a saying to say I one clipped the guy. But yeah. These are mags. Most of the weapons that we use have mags. I'm not sure if there is. Actually, I think the doesn't the carbine use a clip? I think that might be one of the only ones that uses a clip in this game. There's very few weapons, like the White Death, right? I think that might use a clip. But yeah, most weapons in this game do rely on a magazine. So, but thanks for that, Detective. Holster talents, yep, we need those. If you guys remember holster talents, Typhoon brings that up too. They were passive talents, basically. So on your gear, if that was on, like if you had your shotgun holstered, you could still take benefit from its talent. And that was also a synergy. That's actually a really good point, Typhoon, because that was a way to get synergy out of your build too. A whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing. I really wish we had that back. You know, they changed so many things when they did Gear 2.0, and that was one of the things they took away, right? Was holster talents, and I don't understand why. You know, I think that really added to build diversity, and it was such a simple thing, and there wasn't too much of it. We only had a couple things that really were out there with holster talents, right? But yeah, just don't have much of that anymore. We don't have any of it, in fact. So, good point. What up, Dubsta? I'm glad you made it through the stream. I see you chiming in here. Appreciate that. Firm, welcome to the stream also. This is your first time, super welcome. Hey guys, just to let you know, be sure to join us for live streams on every Saturday. I do them at this time at 7:30 at start, and then I also do a members only live stream on Thursdays a little bit earlier, between 5:30 and 6:30, and then I do impromptu streams during the week as well. So hope you catch those. Make sure you are subscribed and you have notifications turned on. If you haven't hit like on this stream, I'd appreciate it if you did that right now so you don't forget. And Latina is dropping links to Discord in the stream, in the chat. So, you know, grab that, head over there, get to know some peeps. David Rowe, M1A does use a clip. Okay, yeah, thanks, Master. I thought that was, that might be the only one. Is there any other weapon that uses a clip? What up, David Rowe? Welcome to the stream, brother. Base Connor, yeah, good point there. Actually, I'm just reading this little comment here. Says that the weather messes with the tracking of the turret drone. They can't see as far. And if John B, if you're asking if that's a bug, it's not. It's always been around since I've known. I think that's sort of part of the game, and it makes it a little bit more realistic. But yeah, It's mostly in dense fog. So when you're sitting in dense fog, that's when your turret will have a really difficult time tracking. So yeah, really good point there. Dubster's messing around with 2% regen build with Backfire in West End. Nice. Base Connor's got a question for us. Let's take a check at that. Which build you use for skill damage that does the most damage? Asking for John B. So which build do I use for skill damage that does the most skill damage, huh? Well, that's a really good question, man, because the truth is that they all, I do a lot of these skill hybrid builds, right? And they all hold like pretty close to the same. But let me just give you a flat out straight answer. So if you're talking about a flat out all yellow, forget about survivability, forget about anything. You just want to know what's going to dish out the highest skill damage. Then you want to run 3 pieces of Empress. And when you're running Empress, it's 3 pieces or nothing. So you know. That's the recommended way to run Empress. But, and that's because it's going to give you 10% skill damage, and then it's going to give you 10% skill efficiency, which also has skill damage. So that's going to give you 20% skill damage right there, and a bunch of other good stuff like duration and haste and whatever, and health. And then you run One Piece Wyvern, and then you run, let's see, so that's 4 pieces. And then you run the Hannah Yu backpack with perfect combined arms. And then you run the waveform holster and the capacitor. And you put skill damage on everything, and then from there, the rest is, you could put skill haste if you like to, but you don't really need skill haste, in my opinion. Because when you're running ballistic skills, their cooldowns are really fast. Welcome to the club, Douglas. I appreciate you, Douglas Jovel, if I'm saying that right, or Jovel. Welcome to Tuxedo. He's a Tuxedotional supporter. I appreciate you. Appreciate your support. That's helping me and helping the community, because that's what I do is build and support the community. So thanks for being a loyal fan. Yeah, so that's what I run. I mean, that's what I would run if you're wanting the straight up. But I don't really like those builds because then you take one bullet and you're like, oh, I'm bleeding, right? So I run a lot of hybrid builds, and the thing about hybrid builds is that they actually have basically the same amount of damage because you still run. I mean, they're gonna be a little bit less, but not significant. And so somebody says, oh, a flat out skill build is better. I mean, why? Why is a flat out skill better? It's not stronger. I mean, if you're talking about a couple of points, then okay. I mean, who cares? It's not worth it for all the loss and survivability. So this build that I'm running, okay, has 6 skill tiers on it, right? So I'm getting 6 skill tier dual ballistic skill damage out of it, right? And then you can run, and then I'm running skill damage on everything. So then it's got 6 skill damage attributes on everything. Well, 5 really, because I'm running the Memento backpack. So, but even more importantly, because the whole point of getting out of cover is so that I can get my trophies, those trophies, when I pick a single trophy up, I get 30% skill efficiency. And then when I stack 30 of those trophies up, I have another 30% skill efficiency, right? And skill efficiency is the most powerful thing. So, big question. That was a big, complicated answer. So that's why I gave it to you in 2 parts. If you're looking for just a straight up, strongest skill build, you're going to play from cover, you let your skills do all the work, then, you want the 3-piece Empress, 1-piece Wyvern, 1-piece Hannah, and then your waveform holster. Run the capacitor. You can also do the test subject. But if you want just the same amount of power, but a shit ton more survivability, then you got a lot of options, and I got a lot of answers for you. You can run the Furious Mop, but if you don't want to get out of cover that much, then look at the Slaughter build. It's called Slaughter. That's a really big deal. That's a big deal. That's actually got a lot of synergies. It's got, what has it got? 30% armor on kill, 4% armor regen, 39% protection from elites, 6 skill tiers, amplified damage, 60% bonus damage to your skills from the capacitor. It's insane. So that's actually one of my favorites because it's really well rounded. And then the other one is the perfect blend. If you don't like to get out of cover too much, that one just kills really fast. It's called a perfect blend because it brings your primary weapon a little bit more in balance with your skills without sacrificing any skill damage. So you don't lose any skill damage, but it makes your primary weapon a lot stronger. And that one's also running the capacitor as well. So that's also actually a really good build. Those are two of my favorites. And of course, Game Over is one of my favorites. A lot of people like the Contender. I see, so I have a lot of answers for you. And if you guys don't know, I name my builds so that we can have these discussions without me having to list out all the pieces. So one of the reasons why I name my builds is so that we all know what we're talking about when I just list them off, right? So we got Juice, right, which is the hacked skill, Hunter's Fury skill build. We got Slaughter, we got Game Over, we got the Contender, we have Limitless, we have the Perfect Blend. These are all hybrid skill builds. They all run 6 skill tiers, so they're all putting out very close to the same skill damage. They're all going to be a little bit variable because some of them have more amplified damage than others, but I hope that helps a little bit. So sorry it's a complicated answer. Good question, though. Good question. But appreciate you guys. Appreciate the questions. Love them. Okay, let me see. Let's make sure. But the church, going back to that question about the fog and your tech, I mean, it should work in the rain. But yeah, the worse the weather, the fog and whatnot, it will get bad. But David Rhodes says, I really respect your builds, and I've actually utilized a few of them. I'm looking to for really reliable PvP builds, something to challenge the Lady Death meta. Any build suggestions or vids? Yeah, I'll give you a couple suggestions because this is what I'm gonna do. Now that our the Tux clans are growing really fast, we're gonna be doing a little bit more PvP because I have more people to team up with. So I want to put together. So for you Xbox boys that are in the chat and in the clan, I appreciate you guys. So if you guys want to do more Xbox, so I was playing with Foxhound last night, and he seems to have a really good PvP game. Actually, it was pretty amazing because I was running an insane build with insane accuracy, and he managed to pull more accuracy out of me, and I was sort of flabbergasted. He had like 56% accuracy, and he was running the Lady Death, and I was like, and I'm talking, those are the end stats that he pulled off. I was like, mine were like 50%. I was like at 50%, which is really fucking good, right? And Foxhound, I think that's your gamer tag from Center, right? But he's part of the Tux clan on Xbox. He pulled off 56% or something like that, and I was just like, what the hell, dude? But ends up, he was saying that he was a COG player, and Call of Duty, and so he just got really good at learning how to land his shots, basically, right, and how to track NPCs and whatever. But then it turned out I found out that he had the Elite controller, and that explained a lot too. But I was still impressed because it sort of justified the Elite controller for me. So you guys know, in case you're curious, I use the default controller settings and all the default game settings on the Xbox. So I am an Xbox player, of course, and so I don't change any of my settings, and I have a standard remote, standard controller. So yeah, so for me, 50%, I'm really happy with that. But it was cool to hear that he's running the Elite controller, and that he was getting 56%. There's probably a good chunk, let's just say half of that was because of that controller, maybe 3% was because of the controller. I mean, most people, so they land at about like between 40 and 45%. 45% is really good, actually. So most people are like at that 42% is like really average. 42% is very average, I think. And so, to see somebody come in without any weapon handling at 56% is pretty amazing. And so I want to say half of that, so that would, so if we say average is 42, that'd be 8 plus 6 is 14. So I would say 7% of that is his skills, and 7% of that is from the controller. So yeah, that makes me wonder, how many of you guys are using Elite controllers, and what does your handling look like? Do you still have potato aim? Anyways, John B, if we do have room on the Xbox, Clan, I'm glad to know you're on the Xbox. And so, I mean, it's in my opinion, it's best that you connect on Discord. Do you Discord, John? If so, you should grab one of these links that Latina's putting down so that you can head over to Discord, because I'm not sure if one of the clan leaders is in the feed right now. They might be, but if they're not, then that's probably the best way to get connected, is by heading over to our Discord. Our initials are TUX, and we have two clans. One is TuxedoBandidos with a space between the word, and the other one is TuxedoBandidos without a space. So if you want to look us up that way, you can also. But okay, let's get into the next deal here. But unless you want to watch me finish this chunk off real quick, pretty cool. Actually, this one was interesting. I was showing because watch it. He starts shooting at me, but he's not even pointing at me. You see that? So I'm taking bullet heat from him, of course, a little bit from his stingers, but he wasn't even aiming at me. He was shooting at he was aiming at my turret, but his bullets were hitting me, and that was bullshit. I was not expecting that to happen. So this is why I say that, you know, when it comes to solo and legendary, you got to have the moves and situational awareness here. So I'm faster than him. This is also a good reason why you don't want to run a shield, because if you're running a shield, you're just going to attract him more. And I had the agility and the speed to get around him. Look at my armor. Look at my armor on this build. You watching that armor? That's amazing. And I win the battle. You see that? So we were in a lot of trouble, and we ended up pulling it off. But it's really amazing what just happened with my armor. That's the part that I wanted you to notice as well. Anyways, so where are we right now? Okay, so we just talked about the M1928, and we talked about how a lot of solo players use that because of how powerful it is at close ranges. And so actually when those chungas, like you just saw, get in range, the thing to do is to really just switch to that M1928 and then mow them over, right? So, so the next, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so the next one is the rock and roll. This is a badass little beast. And the name of this variant is it the ACR or ACS? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think it might be the ACS actually. So really, really, really good shotgun. And I actually think, you know, so it's one that's kind of the shotguns, it's got the lower base weapon damage, but the higher RPM. It's fully automatic. I did a build on this. It's called double shotguns or shotguns akimbo. It's actually a really cool build. But again, so this one comes, it's a Dark Zone exclusive, a second weapon, but you can get this from the named item caches that we discussed earlier. Or you can go to the DZ and farm it out. And so if you're gonna do that, just make sure your best chances are when it is shotguns. But I've actually gotten quite a few of these over time. I've probably gotten 4 or 5. I've gotten 2 or 3 out of them out of named caches. This one came out of named caches, and I think it came perfect just like this. I haven't re-rolled this one. It's got accuracy on it, but I'd probably change that accuracy to damage the targets out of cover. It's got a really quick reload time, so this is a really good run and gun weapon, but it's got the stagger, and again, it's fully automatic, so you could just hold it. I mean, just look at that thing. I mean, just look. Just look. Need I explain more? I mean, that's nasty. That's nasty. So, anyways, what's important though is it has the stagger, so you get more ammo. So you know you can take on multiple enemies. I actually run this, believe it or not. I run this as a double shotgun builds because, like, if the Super 90 is another one we're gonna be talking about. But when I'm using the Super 90 and then I run out of ammo, it's got a painful reload. So instead of reloading, I switch to this and then just way down, the group. Now, if I'm just taking like 1 or 2 enemies at a time, the Super 90 is gonna do all the work, and it's just gonna, go to town for us. So, anyways, really good shotgun. I hope you guys have this. I know many people have this in the community, but I mean, it might be possible to see it for sale at a DZ vendor. So look out for it there. Of course it's rare, but it does come around from time to time. So you can see it at a DZ vendor also. So make sure you guys go to the DZ from time to time to get those DZ credits so that you're able to buy this. Again, the reason why it makes a good secondary weapon, it staggers. So it'll stop that rusher. right? And it's got the mag size to finish them off as well. So you can stop them with the stagger and then finish them off, or a couple of them if you're getting those. You know, it's got quite a bounce to it, so keep that in mind. You want to be close. It's sort of a spray and pray kind of gun because of that. And I'm running, remember, the RPMs are a little bit higher. I believe it's a 300 RPM. I'm running the 3-piece striker, and I got really good weapon handling on this thing, and it still bucks like a horse. So, I mean, I'm holding it steady, but it's moving. I'm correcting. And that's with a lot of accuracy and handling. So just keep that in mind. You want to be really close when you're taking this out. Let's go smash up a group and see what this beast can do on a very hard group. They're a little bit far out, but so again, I got a lot of handling. Keep that in mind. Oops. Oh, I'm out of ammo. We need ammo. Really cool shotgun though, guys. Don't sleep on this. I did create a build for it. Again, it's called double shotguns. I mean, look at that thing. I mean, it's a beast. This is a little bit farther out. I would actually want them to be closer, so keep that in mind. But it's doing the job still. I mean, we're missing a lot of pellets because of how far that's at, so just keep that in mind. But I wanted you to see a little bit how it can do in group. But the build video I created it for it definitely showcases it. I actually used the M870 up front, which is the Mossberg, and then I switched to this thing as like when I come across a big group, and I'm afraid I'm gonna run out of ammo. Because I do run pummel on a lot of my shotguns, but when I have a big group, sometimes the scatter kind of, if you miss, you know, especially with the M870, like if you miss a shot or two, then you can be caught in a reload situation, and you don't want that when you're standing in front of 5 NPCs. So, so what I'll do is I'll switch over to this one. And again, this shotgun's really cool because it kicks in. The talent doesn't require you to get a kill. It works right away. Check this out. Check this out. I'm about to die. I mean, look at, I have nothing. I have nothing. Look at all that health. You see all that life come back? Boom. My skills did that for me. My skills killed her and gave me 35% of my life back, and then I got the regen topping it off. Really good build here, by the way. Really good build. Let's see. Base Connor and Sniper Flamethrower is always fun. Yeah, we could burn the hell out of somebody, too. Keep that in mind. Yeah, we're not even touching on specializations. Good point. Good point. Cool, cool. Hey, do we have anybody on the Xbox clan in the chat? If so, can somebody hook up with John B? John B, make sure you drop your Xbox, what do you call it, gamer tag, and we'll make sure we hook up with you. I'll make sure if somebody can do that, that happens to be on the Xbox right now, that'd be really helpful. Otherwise, we'll have to circle back after the stream and get you hooked up. But yeah, man, you're welcome. Appreciate the interest, and love the community and want to support it. So yeah, and if you like to raid, you know, we can get you rolling in there too. Or if you need to learn how to raid, then we'll walk you through that. Oh, that reminds me, guys, I will be doing a raid build package for noobs this coming week. So I find it to be an important topic right now because as our clans are growing extensively, I wanted to give you guys a resource. Now, the clan leaders have done a really good job posting recommended builds on Discord. So, you know, so that's also a resource for you. But I know not everybody goes to Discord. So I'm going to be also I'm going to probably do it in a live stream format, sort of like this, but I'm going to do it during the week. I haven't figured out which day I'm going to put it out on, but let's just say Wednesday or something like that. And yeah, I think that'll be really good. Maybe even Thursday. Yeah, so I'm going to cover which builds you need, sort of like a starters package of builds for doing raids, because you're going to need all of these builds. It's not just like I need one build. You need, like, you know, somewhere between 3 and 5 builds. And you need them saved in your loadouts, and you can still stash them away, but when somebody invites you to a raid, you want to be on the ready. What you don't want to do is show up to the raid and then have people inspect your builds and start telling you need this and you need that and you need this and you need that. I can help you through all of that. It doesn't matter if you're in my clans or not. People are going to be telling you the same stuff. They're going to be telling you Negotiator's Dilemma. They're going to be telling you Tamper-Proof. They're going to be telling you M1A. They're going to be telling you whatever. So we're going to get you through all of that stuff. And there's still a little bit of wiggle room to run some things out of your preference. But and I'll tell you where that wiggle room lies and where it's not. And then you start, coming up with your own builds. Once you get familiar with the raids and people get comfortable with you, you can start running anything. And I did. I ran a couple of new builds in there just this last week that people don't even know the difference. I mean, because the time to kill, it's all about time to kill. If you're guarding a door, clearing ads, or depends on your task. Now, if you're a healer, you only got one or two choices, right? So as a new player, you may or may not be a healer because that you do have to understand the mechanics to do healing. You need to know where to be and whatnot. So, anyways, you'll get there. Daniel Paxton, join us, brother. Join us. If you Discord, head over there, and we have Xbox clans and PlayStation. But let us know what platform you are. John B sounds like it's on the Xbox. Master Reaper, if you happen to be on, man, if you can grab John B and make sure he gets connected with the commanders or the lieutenants so that he can be added, that'd be cool. JCP3 looks like. Daniel Paxton, let us know which platform you are because the PlayStation peeps are on this chat feed right now and they can help you out, get you connected as well. But yeah, so you're not required to do raids if you join our clans. It's not a requirement. It's an interest. So you are invited to do the raids, and you don't have to be experienced with them. We will teach you. We will help you get that Eagle Bear. We will help you get that Ravenous and the Regulus. We got a lot of peeps that all they do is raid, and then we got some people that never raid, and they do it just to help, if ever. So you're not required to do it. So we like to keep it simple. We like to say, hey, just play, group up, have a mic, have fun, keep it cool. Really good community. So keep that. Fat Cat says yes. Raid build shaming is a thing. Laugh out loud. Funny. That's exactly where there's shame. There is. Check this out, guys. This is what this build can do. Watch this gameplay right here. It's crazy. So I'm playing aggressive because the build can, right? That's where it's like game over. And then watch my recovery. I'm like, oh shit, I need a kill. I'm losing my life. Look at that. I'm taking it from all directions. I got a guy in front of me and behind me, trying to get the cover. I'm doing a lot of cartwheels, punch in the face, and then watch my recovery. Watch how fast the armor regen is keeping me on my feet. Boom! Look at that. Boom! And then let's top it off. Boom! You guys, this is a fabulous build. Hey, so if you're a true Bandito or a hardcore Bandito, you need to be building this. It's a little bit of a tough one. I realize that because it's got some specialized pieces on here, but to create, so it's not going to necessarily happen overnight. But I bet you many of you, if you got, if you've been playing this game for a while, many of these pieces you're going to have already in your stash. And if you don't, and those that are remainder, well, it should be easy to farm if you've been around for a while. So, really, really, really good build. Again, this one was just released last week, and it's a classified build right now. So don't worry, you folks that are not part of the Players Club. If you're not part of the Players Club, these builds are, once they mature, I do declassify them for the rest of the community. So, anyways. Let's see, where are we? So I think we just did the rock and roll. Does that sound right? Okay. And the next one I don't think is going to be too big of a surprise, but it's got to be listed because the reality is it's many people's secondary weapon. The Scorpio. Is this a surprise to anybody that this one made the list? So the Scorpio is an exotic shotgun. It's relatively one of the newer ones. It's been out for, 6-7 months or something like that. But I think it was the last wave of exotics that this one came out with. It ended up being really OP, actually. A lot of people use it. So it's got Septic Shock as a talent, which basically hits people up with a series of status effects and debuffs. And the 7th round gives additional 20% damage from all sources. So even your homies that you're playing with are going to afflict more damage on that enemy. So this is a really good secondary weapon. Again, the reason why it's good is because, they are sort of stacks, which is cool. but they're not the kind of things that require kills or whatever. So if you lose your stacks, it's not a big deal with this thing because of the rate of fire, because you can put those stacks on really fast. So you're not worried about losing your stacks with this thing. Again, it starts to kick in off the first shot, right? The talent starts to kick in off the first shot. So if you switch weapons, then you still got it. But it's a good use. I mean, just notice that you can afflict the dealio here and then switch weapons, and it sticks to the target. So did you catch that? So this is synergy. See that? You see the little markers on his head? They're still there. They're gonna time out eventually, but so that's synergy. So if you're like, okay, I want to stun him and then finish him off with some more power, then you can stun him, disorientation, and then finish him off with a lot of power. Again, that's synergy. That's a way to run double shotguns if you're interested in doing that. Or, the other gun can be an SMG. You can do that. So you can, swap this to, let's put on Emmeline's guard maybe. So we can afflict the disorient, we slow him down, then we switch weapons, and then we just finish him off. And then we all of a sudden got 24% armor on kill, plus 10% armor on kill from Gunner, which puts us at 34% armor on kill by doing that. So the shotgun itself, the Scorpio, is not going to give you armor on kill. But what it's going to do is basically, you guys know this, it's going to stagger it basically slows the enemy down. That's what it's going to do. It's going to slow the enemy down, and then eventually you get more damage once you hit that 7th round. But and that's why a lot of people like it. It's sort of a DPS helper is what I call it. And I know that you can also run this with a high DPS build. I wouldn't. I mean, personally, when I run this Scorpio, I use it for the status effects, and I build around the status effects, sort of more make it for fun. But I sort of look at it like the Scorpio is kind of like, it's kind of a fun gun. But, why not just kill them and get it out of the way, right? And there's a lot of other shotguns. Like, that's where I started looking at I don't think I have it here, but the M870 shotgun, even the Super 90. But those shotguns are like, let's just kill them and get them out of the way and run perfect pummel or something like that. So anyways, but it's going to make the list, of course it makes the list. It's a really good secondary weapon. So if you're going to run an exotic as your primary, like if you're running a chameleon, obviously you can't use this one, right? So you're going to have to use a different shotgun. So you could not equip double exotic. So that's one reason why you wouldn't use this. But otherwise, if you're not running an exotic, if you're running a police M4 shotgun or assault rifle, this makes an excellent secondary weapon. Excellent secondary weapon. And the reason why is because usually, you either want that secondary weapon for close range or long range, or it depends on your build, of course. But it stops that rush, and that's what you're looking for your secondary weapon to do, is to handle those special circumstances like that. But again, it synergizes nicely because, and why it's on the list is because it doesn't require a major buildup of stacks. You can get those stacks really easy. It activates off the first shot, ultimately. It also carries over, which is really important. Those buffs carry over, debuffs carry over to your other weapon. So that makes it a really, really nice synergy. So, what do you guys think? I know it's sort of a mixed crowd. It doesn't make the list a lot as favorite exotics in the game, but a lot of people hate it too. I think not hate it, but I think people are tired of it. So what do you guys think? Are you tired of this thing yet, or I bet you sort of depends on the audience, right? Like, and how many people have been playing for a while, how many people are new. That's going to indicate a lot, I think. But I like it. I like it again. I don't use it that much, though. I think it's like a lot of people started bringing it to the raid, but to help with the DPS. But I just like using a really, something with more power. The status effect, I feel like, is, we could just sort of, I think it almost slows you down a little bit. It slows them down, of course, but I'd rather just kill them and get it out of the way. So, you can do that. You can roll all in into it like a Hunter's Fury. If you run a Hunter's Fury with that shotgun, right, at close ranges, that's a beast. There's no doubt. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of solo artists, solo legendary guys that do that. They run the 4-piece Hunter's Fury with that shotgun. run Intimidate and Adrenaline Rush or whatever, you know, and that really does the job. There's just no doubt. There's no doubt. But I think most people are just sort of kind of sick of seeing it. And that's what happens when you come up with a really OP weapon, right? It's going to end up, a lot of people can use it and then overuse it, and that's why it ends up being OP, and it ends up being a meta. It doesn't get called a meta, but it sort of is, right? Cool, thanks for helping Typhoon and folks. Thanks for helping out Senor Paxton get connected to the clan. Appreciate that. All blue gear builds. Yeah, we should do all purple gear builds for the raid one of these days, guys. I really want to do that. Fat Cat says, let's do a conflict, double stoners, 3-hour matches, better wear a diaper. Yeah. No potty breaks. Real men don't take potty breaks. Anthony Nomar says, Wingman, great build, by the way. Love the Wingman. Hope you guys had a chance to try that one. That's a true patriot that runs repair skills. So it's like an alternate medic build. It's a hybrid medic build. And the theory is, what I say is that for most situations, not all of them, but for most situations, your medic builds like are sort of overpowered. You really don't need that many heals. And that's because the developers gave us a lot of build options that bring survivability to the build. So for example, like Hunter's Fury or the Memento, a lot of people wear, that has 3% armor regen on it. And you know, if people are wearing Bellstone, they got 4% armor regen plus 20% armor on kill. So why do you need hills? Why do they need like this OP hill build? They don't. They don't. That means the group isn't synergized. The group should be wearing, you know, go all in and damage and not have any heals. Or also they don't want to rely on heals because they need burst heals. They need armor on kill if they're going to run and gun. So, and heals can be too slow. So, that's what the Wingman does. The Wingman gives the group heals, amplified damage, so it gives them more power. Watch this little situation here. I get into trouble, but boom, all my armor back. And they give amplified damage, and then they give them bonus armor, a lot of bonus armor, in fact. Like, I think it's around 500,000 on demand bonus armor to your team. That's amazing. And it's actually more than that, depending on the scenario. So, but yeah, really good build. Thanks for bringing that one out, Anthony. Okay, so the next one is going to be a surprise. I've been waiting to show you this one, folks. The next little weapon here. So let's go back up. Okay, so secondary weapons. This one is going to be an eye-opener, okay? So this is called the swap chain. All right, now look at my setup here, okay? That's insane. So it's sort of, so the swap chain, so swapping to this weapon, right, makes it a beautiful secondary weapon just right there. The first sentence tells you, gives you 400% weapon handling for 5 seconds. That's crazy. 400% weapon handling for 400%, okay? 400% of anything is crazy. So anyways, that's more weapon handling than you need. And then every time you get a kill, it refreshes that buff. So you can keep that 400% up. And then swapping away disables it for 5 seconds. So, but look at what I did. So I put it takes an 8x scope. I'm actually gonna create a whole build around this, so you'll see that. But it actually takes an 8x scope, which, you know, you're like, what are you talking about? An 8x scope and an SMG? Yup, because of that weapon handling. It's insane. Now, this makes, to be honest with you, it makes a better secondary weapon than a primary, just because you got to swap to it. I mean, kills do give it the refresh buff, but just swapping to it and then swapping out. So if you run this with something like Versatile and Gunslinger, you know, this is a really good setup for that as your secondary weapon. So anyways, and then I got more accuracy here. It doesn't have a mag mod, so keep that in mind. It's only got 2 mods, but I'm happy with it. So the RPM is a little bit higher. Remember, I'm wearing a Striker on it, but it's still got really high RPMs. I think it's like 900. Okay, so you see that NPC way out there? He's 20 meters out, or whatever it is, 20 yards. So he's out there. So watch this. I'm gonna switch to it. All right. Is that funny to you? Is that funny? Do you see what's happening here, guys? Okay, so I have the 8x scope on here. Do you understand that? I'm getting 30% more headshot damage. I'm killing him at headshot damage That's blind firing. That's my point. I'm blind firing and I'm keeping it alive. So I'm keeping it alive because I'm getting the kill. And so that's just a non-elite guide. So I just wanted to demonstrate, that's why. But the point is the accuracy on this thing. You see that? Now, this is real in the field too. Actually, I have this actually equipped on the build that I'm running. And obviously you can scope in. And because I'm using this to solo legendary and they play pretty deep. And so, but it works really well when they come in close because you can blind fire with such accuracy. This is insane. Pick up on what I'm dishing down to you guys here, okay? This is insane. This is probably out of all of the secondary weapons that I've just told you about, this might be the best one on the list. You let me know what you think. At the end of this, I mean, we're almost done. I got 3 more to show you here, but what is the best secondary weapon out of all of these? Just, you know, some of them are circumstantial, right? But this one just works for anything. I don't care what build you're running, you know, this has 400% weapon handling, right? Okay, so you got to switch to it. So that disables the buff for 5 seconds. So makes a great secondary weapon. So, you know, I sit here and, you know, take these fools out, and then I switch to it, and then blind fire with 30%. Let me show you what I'm talking about. 30% more headshot damage. You catching this? You seeing what I'm dishing down? So it doesn't say you have to be scoped in to get that headshot damage. You just have to have the scope equipped, right? Now, obviously, it auto-scopes. So if you get out of cover, it auto-scopes, right? So I'm not clicking anything. That's an auto-scope situation, right? It's auto-scoping right there. So it's going to force you into a scope situation, but I'm okay with that because the handling is so good on it and the RPMs are so good on that, that even if the enemy is up close and personal, I'm still going to land my shots, you know? So again, when an enemy, but part of this is just how you handle your controller, but when enemies coming in close, you want to line up your reticle first and then pop out of cover. So even if they're moving a little bit and you're missing shots, you're still going to do pretty good taking them out. So basically the reload is nothing on this thing. It's basically instant reload because of that 4% weapon handling. But, you know, my point is that when they're at range, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that it's just crazy that you can blind fire and then hit this guy and kill him and have 30% extra headshot damage on that thing. So what I'm telling you is that this should be your default secondary weapon. That's what I'm telling you. If you don't know what else to run the swap chain. I know you have it. You can get this from the open world. All right. This probably drops all the time for you. It's a named item, and but really easy to get. If you don't have it, just farm SMGs. It'll drop. It's a named SMG in the open world, easy to get. But I think the RPMs on it, the natural RPM is like 900 RPM or something like that. So maybe it's 950, but it's up there. It's up there. I rolled damage to targets out of cover on it. It comes with all the crit chance you need. It does only have 2 mod slots, but I'm not worried about that. You don't have to run 8x scope. I just think that's a really cool thing to do. Of course, you can put crit chance or crit damage on it or whatever you need to do based on your build. But I just, the fact that you can blind fire with it, and that's how I would use it, is like, honestly, it's just like, I mean, you can take no damage, basically, get kills with no damage, and that's sort of a big deal. That's really helpful. So even if you lose the buff, by getting a kill, it'll reactivate the buff. So if your buff times out, all you have to do is get a kill. And it does a really good job of doing that, as you can see. So that's insane. That should be an eye-opener if you know this game. Or even if you're learning it, that should be an eye-opener. That should be your next. This should be your default go-to. You know, I would probably, out of all of them, I think, like, my default go-tos, from what we've seen so far, this is my new one. This one's sort of an eye-opener for me. I knew it was good. I knew it was a laser beam, but I didn't know it could do that. I didn't know you could put the 8x scope on it until I tried, and I realized that you could. I mean, there's so many weapons. Look at this. Like, I'm actually running the rail splitter on this build, but the CTAR doesn't take an 8x scope. You see that? I can't put it. Hell yeah, I would run the 8x scope on this thing. Are you kidding me? This thing is a fucking laser beam. Like, look at this thing. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's a laser, right? There's no stability issues, and I got really good obviously really good accuracy. That's what it brings you, is accuracy. So, but if I could put the 8x scope on the CTAR, I would, but I cannot. But I can put it on my swap chain. That's insane to you that you can put the 8x scope on the swap chain, but not the CTAR. So hell yeah, I'm gonna put the 8x scope on the swap chain. So you know, you can also do that, and I've showed you guys this before in a build video, and it was sort of a side note. So I do actually have a build video that uses the apartment or this SMG variant with perfect focus. But you could do that with these SMGs too. I mean, he's a little far out, but these SMGs actually work really well. So most enemies play within 10 to 15 meters. And so actually I put the wrong scope on. You want the 8x, not the 12x. So that's this one. Okay. So, you know, most enemies are playing in this range. And so that's actually really, they're not zoomed in too much. So it's actually really convenient to use it at that range. It's even easier. You get a better shot at their head if you like taking headshots. So, and I'm getting 30% more damage. Guys, listen up. 30% more damage is a big deal. Okay, it really is. If you can learn to play in scope more, you're gonna get a lot more out of your build. Now, not every weapon uses that, has the ability to use that. So, you know, if you can, you know, take advantage of that. So look at this. So this one's using it. This is one's built for range. So I got the accuracy here. And then I have headshot damage. Actually, damage to targets out of cover. But optimal range is really good to add to your assault rifles. If you haven't done that, you will notice a big lift in damage. A big lift. So usually when enemies are playing farther out, you're losing damage, right? You have a damage drop off. And so when you run optimal range, you will notice higher numbers on your enemies. So you should do that. And I haven't tracked the amount, but like on a, like whether it's a 20% improvement or whatever, but you know, that'd be interesting to know. So anyways, 8x scope, you can put that on. So the swap chain is a really cool one to use. And again, you can blind fire with it. So that makes it really handy, even for legendaries. It's got a really high RPM. And so you know, I am deleting chungas with this. Okay. And you'll see that in one of these next builds that I have coming out. What up, Marquez? Saludos de Colombia. Welcome, brother. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, so anyways, this is really good. I'm deleting chungas with this at close range, and it's really handy because I can break their chain without getting out of cover, and I have the accuracy to do that without the gun going all over the place like this, like most SMGs are. Most SMGs, the spray pattern is really circular and spread. Not that crazy, but you know, they kind of go like that. I'm artificially creating it. But with this one, it's right on, right? It's just like, it's really nice and tight. And I can break that chain really easy on the chunga and then go for his chest while he's bent over, and then go for his backpack while he's bent over. So really good gun. I definitely recommend this one. What do you guys think? How many of you know how OP this bad boy is? Anybody? You guys using this yet? Surreal Jake. Effing beautiful. Yeah, it is. It is. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, that gun is so like underrated, you know, and it's not like it's not a new gun at all by any means, right? Like, I mean, I've had people bring it up to me, people from Discord or whatever, be like, hey, Tux, you know what we should do is a versatile build with a swap chain. It's pretty OP, and it is, and I've tried it and whatever. But I just really haven't gotten around to using it. But just as a flat out secondary weapon, it's wow, right? It's like really wow. It's like, wow, that's, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense to run that. Just always have it there. It should be like the default, because it says it right there. Use me as a secondary weapon. It says it right there. It says swap to me, right? As soon as you swap to me, I'm going to hook you up with 400% weapon handling. I mean, geez. Thank you. Thank you for hooking me up. Okay. So the next one, so I'm here. I am at the boss phase. So I'm going to clear these guys out and then take on the boss. It's actually pretty cool. So, but here I am at the next one. So let's talk about the next one. It's actually pretty cool. It's sort of a specialty. It also makes a nice one if you have the ability to run a default, but this is what it does. Can anybody guess what that was? Can anybody guess what that was? But talk about easy kill, baby. You know, that's easy killing. I mean, you can make a whole build around it if you want to, just meleeing fools. But I'm gonna try to find somebody else to kill around here. But it's really convenient because it just, you know, there's no faster kill than that, right? So, okay, so let's look at this guy. He'd be a pain in the ass, right? Because he's kind of tanky or whatever, and he's whatever, but boop, one hit and he's dead, right? What is that? What weapon is that? Somebody tell me what that is. You gotta know what it is. You know what it is. Don't be shy. You know what it is. It's funny, though. You know, it's like the bop gun, right? Bop, 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 diddle, bop, 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 boo. I one bop you. Was that who sang that song? Bop. Is it three little boys that sang that song? Little bong guys. Forget the name of them. No. Okay, so this guy'd be a pain in the ass. We're like, let's bop, 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 diddle. I'm bopping you. Yeah, don't have a singing voice, so it's as good as it gets. Not making a career out of it. But, yeah, funny little gun. Funny little gun. Sweet Dreams. Sweet Dreams, that's what it is. Sandman is also the variation of it, so good call on that. But, yeah, that is the Sweet Dreams. Really easy to get. You probably get a ton of them. You can get them from exotic caches, or you can farm shotguns. But really good build. Really good for builds as a secondary weapon. Now, I mean, you gotta not be running exotic, obviously, for it to be a secondary weapon, because it is an exotic and you can't run two of them. So, you know, if you're running something like the Scorpio or whatever, then, you know, it's not going to be permittable. But got myself in a hornet's nest here. But anyways, so yeah, I had to get out in the field to show you what this one does. So I'm going to travel back to the White House so we can finish this off. But oh, look at that. I ran into an elite convoy. That's what that was. But yeah, I'll head over to the White House. But that's a really good shotgun. So yeah, so it's the Sweet Dreams. Nothing new. I think everybody knows it makes a really good secondary weapon, but it's got to make the list because it's a specialty one. There are a lot of times where, you know, I like to use it especially for those tanky guys, like those heavy gunners, like on the especially the True Sons. The True Sons have that heavy gunner guy, and he wears a really heavy helmet, and he just takes a ton of ammo. And, you know, he lays down a lot of fire, and it's a pain in the ass. He can pin you down, right? And so getting rid of him with just one bop is really, 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 really handy. Also, it's actually really good in the raid. If you guys do Iron Horse, for example, it is sort of a required weapon to have on board. Or even if you're guarding a door, by the way, like an Iron Horse, like in any of those, if you're using like an SMG or whatever, an assault rifle to guard a door, put on the Sweet Dreams as a secondary weapon. Just eliminate one of your targets really fast, you know. Bop him, and then whip out your SMG and finish him off, right? But to be honest with you, shooting that gun is a nightmare. Like, I hate shooting that gun. It's like, tunk, tunk, tunk. Oh, it's horrible. I mean, horrible rate of fire, horrible handling. It's the Spaz, whatever it's called, Spaz 90 or whatever, but version of the shotguns. But, you know, it's basically horrible in all departments. And I know some people like it, so sorry if that's you, but, you know, it's just the handling on it's not nice. So anyways, it's got a high base weapon damage, but yeah, you just don't really want to use it. So Sandman is the talent. So the cooldown is really fast. So 15 seconds is not a long cooldown. So you can use this a lot. Again, you want a weapon that synergizes with it. So if you're going to use it a lot, which you should if you're using it, if it's there, use it a lot. Then make sure your other weapon has something like measured or strained or whatever you're using. So that when you switch out of that weapon to this one, it's not losing your talent. So keep that in mind. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I actually really like running around and bopping people. Sort of a thing. Some people are better at it than others. It can get you into trouble though. So keep that in mind. So let me adjust a couple things for the next one. We're getting close to the end of the list, so we will be wrapping this up soon. So if you got any questions, make sure you drop them now, and then hit start up your question with let me know that it's a question by typing the word question, so that we know, so I can scan and pick up that question and not miss it. So good job on the guesses, guys. GKH Foundation, appreciate you. 6 Atomic. If I didn't say what up, what up? Hentai Plus, for me, that hybrid skill build like Hunter's Fury, very good. Yeah, that's a really cool one. I like that one. Yeah, there's 2 of them. Okay, there's one that actually uses Hunter's Fury, and I hacked that into a hybrid skill build. So it's a 6 skill tier Hunter's Fury build. That's one, and that's really cool to have that disorientation on kill is really handy, and also you get that 20% armor on kill, and those are 2 things that I really wanted. But you know, when you're tackling big groups of legendary enemies and you kill one of them and all of them get staggered, that's really, really handy. Really, really handy. But I think the one you're actually talking about is the one where I use the Eclipse. I hacked the Eclipse protocol build and turned it into a skill damage build, but I used the Scorpio, and by doing that, when you kill an enemy that is disorientated or shocked, everybody around them also gets staggered, and it's just for a couple of moments, but it's long enough for you to reload and get that next kill and do it all over again. And that's just like Hunter's Fury. And that's why I said that, which is what I think you're talking about. Also, it actually has more and better amplified damage than Hunter's Fury. That build has, and it's called the Aggravator, and that build has 60% amplified damage plus 20% more damage to that target when you hit your 7th round because you're using the Scorpio, and then it has a status effect on top of that plus 6 skill tiers. So yeah, that's actually a really good build, really fast time to kill. It's a little more play from cover because we're not running any armor on that one, and we're not running a memento. There's no memento on that one, so which is pretty unique for these hybrid builds. The memento is usually best in slot, but for that one, it was all about using the Eclipse backpack. That was the whole point of that build, which is why I didn't use it. So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up, man. That is a really good build. GK, it says, yeah, slower than a turtle, that sweet dreams out firing. For sure. Thanks, Jay Wilsey, for reminding everybody. Yeah, so if you haven't already, please hit the like, subscribe if you haven't. Appreciate that, guys. Hit the like down below. And also wanted to let you guys know, if you didn't know, that classified builds are secret builds. So the build that you see here is a classified build. This is gameplay of a classified build. And these are secret builds made for Texas Players Club, true and hardcore Bandido member levels. These are extra builds I make as a thank you for supporting me in the channel. So if you want to tap into these secret builds, you can get access today by making sure you're at least a true Bandido member by hitting that join button below. So thank you for supporting me, and I will see you on the member side. So let's get into the next one. This one's going to be a little bit different, but this is one that I use a lot. It's sort of a Tux secret. And it's not super secret or anything like that, but it's pretty cool. So basically, this is the Super 90, okay? If you don't know the Super 90, it's a really good shotgun because it's got this crazy RPM for a shotgun, 184 RPMs, which is actually really fast for a shotgun. It goes whack, 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 whack. It's actually a little bit higher here. I think it might be 150. Now again, I'm running Striker, so sorry if that's a little bit confusing. But so 8 rounds in the mag, which isn't high, and the reload is nasty. It's actually a little over 3 seconds, but again, I'm running 3 pieces of Striker. So, but what I want to demonstrate is that this has got the high rate of fire and the power to stagger your enemy, and to get the kill, and that's what makes it really nice. That's what makes it a really nice shotgun. But what I want to show you actually is to run it with, if you're running a DPS build, this makes a good secondary. And if you're running the trick here that I'm wanting to show is that if you're running a fixer drone, this is a nice thing to have. So if you run reformation on the shotgun, just by landing one tiny little pellet on the head, you can activate reformation and get 30% skill repairs for 15 seconds. So that's really cool. So 50 seconds isn't long and it isn't short. But you do have to have the shotgun equipped. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think this works in let's try it. But this might not work in the testing range. There's some talents that don't work in here, and it kind of sucks. But so let's check it out. Okay, so we should, if this works, we should get an icon down below. That's it's a cross for reformation. But yeah, so it doesn't work in here, unfortunately. Shit, that sucks. So I can't demonstrate this, but basically what would happen is you have your healer out, right? And it's going to give a certain base heals. And just by landing one pellet in the head, it's going to give you 30% more heals, which is a serious boost, guys. So 30% more heals is like running in a skill tier and a half, basically. And it's really easy, like I'm going to miss here on purpose, to get that guy's head. See, like just the scatter, the spray pattern, even if I'm not on target, it's really, you only need one pellet to land to activate reformation. So I use this a lot as a secondary weapon with reformation, just because for 15 seconds, I'm going to get a big boost in my heals if I'm running repair heals. It's like putting my my little thing on overdrive. So I am running striker, so you see my hands going in hyperdrive there when I reload. It's kind of insane, right? I mean, look at that. Let's see what my stats are on this shotgun. So accuracy 66, stability, weapon swap speed, weapon handling is at 36%. So, and then so I got 36% weapon handling on top of, I think I got this all modded out with reload speed there. So I got, I think 40% reload speed. So that's why it looks like I'm on crack when I reload. So you can be on crack too if you build in the weapon handling to do it. So weapon handling equals crack hands. If you want crack hands, run my weapon handling build. Crack hands. Brought to you by Tux Live. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one, which is going to be kind of a specialized one. And this is one I would admit that I don't use very often. But this is the Grudge. It's named SMG. You can get this in the open world. So I have accuracy and crits. I mean, you probably want this all critted out, really. But check this out. So it comes with perfect. The Grudge comes with perfect invictive. I have damage to targets roll on mine, and of course you're gonna get a lot of crit chance on this bad boy. And do we have a special skin? No special skins on this one. So vindictive. Killing an enemy with a status effect applied grants you and all allies within 20 meters 18% crit hit chance and 18% crit hit damage. So basically, what you want to do is, let me grab my chest piece here. So, I got to get rid of something because I'm really full. So let's get rid of that and then come over here. Okay. So you put on this bad boy. So I got it. So this is going to synergize really nicely with Ridger's Pride, right? So Ridger's Pride activates a bleed. See that bleed? Now, if I kill him, I get vindictive, which is a status effect. So, I mean, I'm sorry, which gives me a more critical hit chance. See the little heads down there? The little 3 heads? So that's giving me more crit chance and more crit damage. So it's going to boost these two stats with more crits. And so if we look at the gun talent again, so 18% more crit chance, 18% more crit hit damage for 20 seconds. 20 seconds is actually a lot. So that's twice. It's basically like the Dark Winter, right? Except you're getting crit chance also, and you're getting it for twice as long. So it's not as much crit damage, so you're getting more crit chance, more crit damage, and you're getting it twice as long. But what that does for you, if you build this into your play cycle, if you every 20 seconds, if you remember to switch to it and you can refresh it, then you're going to constantly keep your crit chance, crit damage up. Now, it's a little situational because it's requiring a kill, and that kill has got to be on status effects. So, you know, you got to, in other words, you got to be in close range. You got to get them bleeding, and then you got to kill them every 20 seconds to rotate like this. But if you can do that, then you can actually roll in less crit chance on your build, which means you can roll more crit damage or more survivability on your build. And then it's going to give you more crit damage on top of that. So it's a way to get more crit damage, basically, because you can run less crit chance. You can save your slots for more crit damage. And by estimation, it'll allow you to run an additional 24% crit damage onto your build if you play into this. So that, but again, you have to remember to constantly swap to this within every 15 to 20 seconds, basically, and then you got to get a kill. So that can be situational. So all of a sudden, if you're up against a big chunga, right, and you only have 32% crit chance because you've spec'd around the grudge, then you're fighting that chunga at a disadvantage, right? Because that 20 seconds timed out, it's just you, it's mano-y-mano, it's one-on-one, and it requires a kill to get this extra crit chance, crit damage, and you're not, you know, you're gonna kill him and then it's mission over. So anyways, you're playing at a crit disadvantage. So that's why when you see builds out there where, you know, they build around this, it's sort of gimmicky. Realize that, it's gimmicky. There's just a lot of situations where you're mano-y-mano and you're not gonna get the kill, which means you're at a crit disadvantage. And so for me, you know, I'm not a super fan, but it does have a place. But if I don't spec around the crit chance also, I just feel like there's a lot of waste there, you know? So for me, if I were to use Perfect Vindictive, I would be specking around the crit chance also. What I mean by that is I would put 18% less crit chance on my build so that I can rely on Perfect Vindictive to fill that void. And by doing that, I free up 3 slots actually, right? 3 slots to roll 3 additional crit damage mods. That gives me 36% more crit damage. That's what the number is. Because you see the math there? So a crit chance mod is, like if you look here, is 6% crit chance, right? Now if I rely on Vindictive, I can decrease this by swapping out that mod. Instead of running crit chance, I can run crit damage. You see that? And then I can do that 3 times, so I can take it off here, I can take it off there. And so by doing that, I basically increase my crit damage by 36%, all because I don't have to run those crit chance mods to get me over. So I would basically want my crit chance to be in the 30s. Was that 32%? And then, let me see, or actually it's probably 42%. So this is about where you want your crit chance to be, is right there. And then now it makes sense. So now I'm really spec'd into that. So, but again, when it's just you and a chunga, you know, you're gonna be playing at a disadvantage because you're not gonna get that kill. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's sort of like the perfect finisher. The perfect finisher does something, I don't think I have that right here. Yeah, the orbit is. So the orbit, so we didn't go into pistols today. These are sidearms, so I didn't, it's a whole nother thing. But the perfect finisher, you know, swapping to this, you know, getting a kill, I mean, look at it, it's twice as much. So if you use this, you get 35% crit chance and 40% crit damage, and it's only for 10 seconds though, so it's less. But the reason why this one might be better is because it doesn't require the status effect. And so I feel like the Grudge only works with Widray's Pride, or if you're running a status effect skill build. And in that case, it's just like you hardly have any crits anyways. I mean, I don't even want the crits anymore. Not excited. So, okay. So let me get to some of your questions here while we let this gameplay go through here. So question text, to the best of your knowledge, is it true that it's not advisable to use explosives on the Chunga here at the end of the legendary you are currently running? Yeah, actually most Chungas don't take explosives very well. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So yeah, so explosives don't work on explosives very well. They do take some damage on it, but the thing about this guy is that he only takes 2 types of damage, all right? 1, health damage to the backpack, right? So you're shooting at his weak point the whole time. So that's health damage. All weak points are health damage is what they are. So really you want to run max health damage. So that's why assault rifles do really well against him, because you're shooting at that backpack the whole time, right? 50% of the time at least you're shooting at his backpack. And also the chain. So the other strategy with this Chunga aggro is to break his chain, and you'll see. So I'm taking him on solo here, but I got one more NPC I got to take out, or a couple, but yeah, and the other thing is this chain. This chain is considered a weak point, so that again, that's health damage. So RPMs and health damage are what you want for his backpack. Amplify damage and also works, but yeah. So explosions, you know, he will take a little bit of damage if you're hitting that explosive right on his back, but you just be better off with a high RPM health damage weapon like an assault rifle. You can also use snipers. So you can use the Nemesis and just kind of plug away at his back there. That's another trick. But yeah, no, for me, I like high RPM sniper rifle. So for this one, I use a shotgun. The Scorpio is also really good for him too, by the way, just because it gives him a stagger status effect from that electrocution and disorientation. But yeah, no, I wouldn't run explosives on Chungas at all. They just sort of seem to stagger him a little bit, and that's kind of it. If you know, watch their armor bar, not a lot goes off. So, and same with, so if you're running the mortar build, a really OP mortar build, and those builds are so strong, there's no lie in that. So if you're running like one piece China, two piece Grupo, and then Wyvern, and then two piece Hannah, or whatever, however you run yours, probably with the waveform too, right? But those are really strong builds as mortar builds. I mean, you can clear out a whole legendary checkpoint just by yourself and your little turret, you know, as long as you don't get hit by a grenade yourself. So, but if you notice when you're running those type of builds that the Chungas, when you get down to the Chungas and like even tanks, like you have to use, you eventually do kill them with your mortar, of course, but it's not very efficient. You probably notice that you use more than what seems to be a reasonable amount. And not because he's tankier, but just because he doesn't take that type of damage really well. Really well by meaning like it doesn't kill him fast, like it does everybody else. Right, elites, non-elites. I mean, you hit them with that one of those mortars, it's like, you know, night, right? But with these guys, it's not. So notice, to take off this boss, it's always the same. So if you ever wonder why I don't always show the end boss being taken out, it's because it's always the same. And I do here because this was a how-to. So for members on the members stream, so for you guys that are members, if you didn't watch the member stream, and it doesn't matter what level you are, you all have access to members stream as long as you're in the players club. But I teach you how to solo legendary with using this build, but it's sort of the same with all builds. It's just that this one allows you to play in a little closer. But it's always the same when I play this boss. Break his chain, get him in this endless cycle with your riot foam, and it helps that I have 6 skill tiers here so that I have a lot of ammo. And then break his backpack. And then once you do that, do the same thing. Break his chain, hit him with the riot foam, and then shoot his head. So when I said he takes 2 types of damage, one is weak point damage, right? So a lot of health damage, that's what the backpack is. And then the other one is headshots. So anywhere else you shoot him, he doesn't take damage except for his chain. So chain, again, is a weak point. So chain, backpack, and head. So that's health damage and then headshot damage. That's the 2 most efficient ways to kill him. You might as well spec into headshot damage. Obviously, you can crit on the head too, so that's another way to do it. But you might as well just headshot damage. That's why sniper builds are really good for him too. So to have a sniper in your crew really helps. But when I see somebody like using skills with him, like a turret and a drone, that's why I switched out, because they're just ineffective. They do shoot at the head a little bit, but there's just so many misses. And they do a really bad job at shooting his weak points. Almost never get his weak points. So you have to go at him with your weapon. So look how fast I got him smoking. But my strategy is always the same. It doesn't matter what build. If I'm running just an all DPS build like Negotiator's Dilemma, I'd be doing the same thing. The same exact thing. It's just going to take longer because I don't have all the skill tiers to get enough ammo for the riot foam. So this has 6 skill tiers, but I have no skill haste. So I just ran out of riot foam. But it's basically the same. I just take a couple extra seconds for my ammo to get through its cooldown, and then I finish him off. But I relatively do it pretty quickly. I get him taken down pretty quickly. It's with this build, so it's you know, if you can do it this fast solo, you should be able to do it this fast in a group. The way I look at it, it's all about strategy, right? And that's sort of the point, and that's sort of also why I don't show this part of in build videos a lot, because it's always the same. It's just the same strategy. It doesn't matter what my build is. And so most of soloing legendary or even playing in group isn't about your builds as much as it is legendary. So there it is. I just broke his backpack, did it with the shotgun. So shotguns have shotgun damage, damage to armor, and then I had damage to targets out of cover. So, but I did use my assault rifle a little bit too. So now I'm going to be using a mix of the assault rifle and my shotgun to finish him off depending on range. So I'm waiting for my ammo to cool off. That's going to be the same strategy. I break the chain, except instead of shooting at his backpack, I'm going to be shooting on his head. So I want to be as close as possible to do that. And so I riot foam him to keep him from fixing his gun. That gives me more time to actually shoot at him. So that's my strategy. Really easy. You can do this. A lot of it's just having the patience and just being focused on those 2 weak points. three really. Chain, back, head, in that order. And the right foam, again, I don't care about the stickiness. I'm sure it would help, but it's mostly all I'm doing is disrupting his animation of fixing the chain. And the longer you can wait, the more patient to hit him with that right foam at the very last second, the better. Because he gets down on his knee, he pulls in the chain, and then he latches the chain. You want to get him right before he latches. The longer you can hold out, the more ammo you're going to have. Basically, you're buying a second per round, and that will give you 1 to 2 more rounds to hit him with, so you don't have to wait like I'm doing here with the cooldown. So I just was a little too rambunctious with the ammo at first, and so I'm in a cooldown situation, but it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Either way, we get the job done. Yo, what up, Destroyer of Words? Yo, Tux, I'm still tuning in, or turning heads with the 511 build with 120% incoming repairs. Whoop, whoop. Super chat. Sup, chat. Yeah, man. That's such a fun build. Did you guys see that one? You guys see that one? It was originally a classified build, and I declassified it, so everybody should have access to it. But it's on the cover, it says, when you're dared to make a 511 build, but then you accidentally fall in love. Because that's what happened. I was, somebody in one of these live streams, followed up in a comment saying, hey, Tux, I dare you to make a 511 build. Which is the worst build set in the game, arguably, right? Because it starts off with, brand set, I should say. Because it starts off with health damage, which is really useless in this game. And then it's got incoming repairs, and then it's got hazard protection. Now, a lot of people that do use 511, they end up speccing around hazard protection, but that didn't seem unique enough, so I ended up building around incoming repairs, and it basically gives you infinite life. It's really insane. You can just stand there and take a lot of turret damage. So, anyways, it's sort of a just for fun, see what you can do build. And what Destroyer of Words is saying is that it's funny to watch your teammates' reactions with that one. So anyways, I used the backup boomstick to finish him off there. That's a good synergy right there, by the way. So if you don't have the backup boomstick, you should get it. And it's actually a really good one to equip with your... let me pause this so we can get that sound. To finish fools off. So this one is like really cool. So it's got that quick wildfire. So it's sort of a beast, right? It's like... But if you got somebody coming in on you, or if you run out of ammo and you don't have time to finish him off, you just switch to that boy. I mean, look, that was one round right there. It almost took him out all the way. And then he'll bleed out. I mean, obviously I'm not spec'ing to this, but 2 rounds will finish off an on-elite. Yeah, pretty easy. But I like these, actually. It's been a long time. I used them a lot when I first got into the game because they were really nice, powerful little secondaries. But, the TDI card came out, and that sort of took it over. And then eventually I got the Orbit. The Orbit's my pistol that sort of is my default pistol. And then from there, I use the TDI cards. I actually like the TDI card, and I run it with reformation because just by hitting somebody once in the head, you got a skill tier. Now 30% more skill repairs on top of that. So that's going to make your heals really overpowered. So when you get in a bind, like you're playing District Union and you're in that garage and you get hit by a bunch of drones, just tap somebody in the head real quick and you got basically 30, probably like 50% more repair skills from that. Just by you having the TDI card. So really good secondary, or pistol, I should say, sidearm. And then otherwise I use the Orbit just to give me that more crit damage. But basically it's just a default pistol. I actually never really use it. I don't like switching to my pistols as part of my gun strategy. It's easier, but I guess sometimes I do. It's pretty rare that I use my pistols just because I'm so busy with my primary and secondaries. I don't even have time to switch to it. But if you're a really efficient player, you'd actually cycle through all 3 weapons when you can. That's the best way to play. Eliminate that reload. So when you get really good, and some of you guys are already here, so you should be doing this, but basically what you do is you shoot, exhaust your ammo, right, and then tap the reload and then switch during the reload animation, okay? Now if I go back, my gun is fully reloaded, but I switch during the reload animation. You don't wait, right? You guys know this. And so same thing. Then you go to your second weapon area, exhaust, reload, switch. Now to your pistol. Boom, 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 and then do that. You see, that's how you should be playing. Then you go all the way back to your primary and then repeat. By doing that, you're eliminating reloads. So that's why we are talking about what we're talking about. Again, that's kill efficiency, what we're talking about, right? That makes you a more efficient killer when you cycle through all your weapons, right? And so just remember to even if you're not finishing your clip, just remember to tap the reload before you switch, and then notice the ammo. So if I go back to that, if I can just figure out how to do that, notice the ammo's full. You guys get what I'm laying down there? So just be sure. So that's the most efficient way to play. And if you watch my Invisishield build, on one of them, I really worked that in to get the most DPS. I use an SMG. I remember I use the SMG, and then I exhaust the ammo, hit reload, switch to the shotgun, and I go boom, 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 exhaust the ammo in the shotgun, and then I hit reload, and then switch to my pistol, and then tap them off with my pistol or whatever. Continue on with my pistol, then cycle back through. And basically, the DPS really condenses, right? Because if you don't switch weapons, this is what happens. You exhaust your ammo, you exhaust your damage, and then you're not shooting, and then you do that. You see that? So the weapon swap time. Now, the reality is that this build has crazy handling on it. Okay, that's because that's the way I built this in. So it's got really, really high, but weapon handling in it. But the swap speed is faster than your reload. On most builds, the swap speed is about 1 second. Okay, and so where the Police M4, now this build is not true because I got a lot of weapon handling in here, but it's normally at like between 2 seconds and 2.2 seconds. So swapping is half the speed as reloading, right? But the way you're doing it when you cycle through your weapons that way, you're getting that reload. You're actually getting your reload in the weapon swap time to happen. You're exchanging your reload time for your weapon swap time, but you're still getting your reload. So you basically, it's a trick to get your reloads down to 1 second, no matter which weapon you're having. Now, if you got weapon handling or swap speed spec'd in, then your reload will be even faster. And it's not a 100 perfect system. It's probably about like a 90% perfect system. There are times where you'll be shooting your weapon and you hit the reload button and then you swap and then the animation doesn't complete all the way through, you know. So, but 90% of the time it works, and that is how you DPS. Probably you COG players know that really well. You guys that do a lot of PvP stuff probably know that really well, but you want to cycle through all your weapons. Now, the reason why I don't like it 100% is it's not user, it is the way the game is set up. I don't like that. I think if you have an elite controller, you could probably save yourself from this, but it's just that I get caught in this situation where I can't get to the right weapon sometimes. You know, like I'm trying to get to the primary weapon. I keep going from my secondary to my sidearm, you know, and it's because it's not registering that third hit to get back. And so you kind of get in that and then you're just wasting time and you lost all the time that you saved. So mostly it's like when I'm trying to go to from my, it usually happens when I'm on my secondary weapon and I want to get to my pistol, you have to double tap, and sometimes it doesn't happen cleanly and I'll end up back of my primary weapon, or I'll double tap too many times and end up back to where I started, and then I lose the cycle. So that's why I don't do it so much. But if you get proficient with it, you do become a better killer. And again, that's why you want a secondary weapon that really synergizes with your build, so that you can cycle through all your weapons and with basically eliminate your reload, which in turn will increase your DPS. Does that make sense? Did we get that? I know that was a lot of information. I was talking really fast, but hopefully you soaked it up. And not hit repeat, rewind. Anyways, that's all I have for today. So let me just glance through these last few comments, make sure I got everything. But again, if you haven't hit the like, please do that right now before you forget. Otherwise, hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you on board with the channel. Head over to Discord if you haven't. Again, there's no cost to that, and we'd love to have you participating with our build talks. We are build connoisseurs. Like to put our feet up and talk about that. But yeah. So let's see. Doki Zoki says, I use a Grudge and 1928 on my ongoing directive build. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense with ongoing directive. Totally makes sense. Doki Zoki, if you can squeeze in what we were just talking about, cycling through your third weapon, which would be your sidearm, that would be really cool. So one of the other weapons you should that as a sidearm that makes sense is a fire starter. Now you might not be using fire, you might be using bleed or whatever, but this is actually a really good gun. I used to run this with my first of all, it looks cool. It looks like an old pirate pistol. Pirate shoddy, right? Look at the gold trim on it. But and I'm not sure if that's got, Yeah, it doesn't take a mod, so that's how it is. This comes with, what does this come with, guys? Does this come? This comes with one of the specializations. I just can't remember which one it came with. It might be firewall. Maybe it's, yeah, I think it is firewall, isn't it? Right? But yeah, so damage enemies lose 50% burn resistance for 5 seconds, right? And it's got health damage and shotgun damage, of course, and of course it's 1.4 million. But so if you're using something like Eclipse Protocol, right? So what's important about Eclipse Protocol is getting the kill, not catching them on fire. You follow me there? So you need to get the kill, because if you get the kill, then it'll spread. You'll get that waterfall effect, which, you know, the status effect starts spreading to the other enemies around the enemy that just died, right? So what this does, I mean, this is almost better than anything, okay? Because what this does is it removes his shield, his resistance to fire, which means he will die from that fire easily, or from your bullets that therefore land on him after you catch him on fire. So, which means it'll spread to the next enemy sooner. So this is a really good weapon. I mean, there's the other one, which is that increases the status effects on the next enemy you shoot. You know what I'm talking about? It's what is it? I don't think I have it on this character. It's on my other character, but somebody help me out here. Everglaze, something like that. It's the one that increases status effects. You know what I'm talking about? It's a rifle. It's got no power behind it. I actually don't like it. But this Firestarter shotgun is better than that, because that one only works for that one enemy, and it doesn't work for any other enemy that also receives status effects. So it only affects one enemy. This is really cool because you can use it over and over and over again on anybody that you shoot. So shoot, reload, hit the next target, hit the next target. So by getting them to die faster from the fire means that that single fire round will spread to more enemies. Perfect. Everlasting gaze. Thank you, Doki Zoki. Appreciate you. You got my back. Okie dokie, Zoki. You got my back. So, but yeah, perfect perpetuation. So if you read into perpetuation and then watch how it works, it only works for that one enemy you shoot. So that's to increase the duration of your status effect. And so thank you, Destroyer of Words. That's what I did, is I destroyed words with that everlasting, evergreen gaze. But thanks for correcting me there. So that only helps with one enemy. So that's only works for one enemy, which is okay if you're working with like a Chunga or a boss and you need that status effect to stay longer for them. But this is way better. With this, you can actually make your status effect weaker if you wanted to and spec into something else, because you don't need it to be as strong, because this weakens the enemy. It's like kind of reversing the effect. Instead of making your status effects stronger, you can make the enemy weaker to your status effects. That's what this does. So if you guys aren't using the shotgun build on your fire builds, like your pyromaniac builds, you need to. It's gonna make them. It makes a. I mean, 50% burn resistance. It cuts it in half. That's like saying 200% burn damage. Look at it that way to your enemies, right? But what's really cool is that you can. There's no cooldown on it. You following that? There's no cooldown on it. So you can basically do it over and over again. Why don't let me quit it though? What is it? What's the problem here? Do I have to be running that specialization for this to equip? That's all right? You should be able to use these. Oh yeah, maybe that's one of the things that they were saying they needed to fix. Yeah, so you might have to run that specialization for that to work. Is that right, guys? Am I catching that right? It's been a while since I've used this. So, yeah. That's stupid. And you know, it also gets stuck in your stash sometimes. You ever notice that? Like, you can't delete them. Let's just take a quick look at that before I let you go, because we need to get around these bugs. So I think if we look at I think this is why. So inspect. So yeah, there's a fire starter. So it does come with firewall. So look, so the thing is that, see, I de-spec'd against it. You see that there? And the reason why I did that is because I didn't want it to sit in my stash. It takes up space. So I thought by taking away the points from it, it would remove it, but it doesn't. And that's what I mean. It gets stuck in your stash. So basically, I can add all the points back, and now I should be able to use it. But it's acted like, so even though so that's just weird, right? So even though I had it, I couldn't use it. So I still can't use it because it's requiring me to switch talent. So let's do that real quick, and let's make sure we can use it there. So you might, it's been a while since I've used these special weapons, so appreciate your patience. So now we can equip it. So not only do you have to have it spec'd out, you have to be running that actual specialization to use that weapon. Now I believe they are changing that. They just in the specialization update they're making, it's going to be done in February. They're making it so that you can use these weapons with any specialization now. So that will be fixed, as well as the skills. So like the Striker Shield, Artificer Hive, you'll be able to use those outside of the specialization that awarded it in the first place. So that's pretty cool. So that will all be fixed in February. So right now you have to have Firewall specialization equipped in order to use this shotgun, but in the future that will not be the case. And so you can run Eclipse with Technician, or you can run Eclipse with a lot of people like to use Survivalist because you get more damage to targets and their status effects. But really cool. Really cool, guys. It's a really nice debuff. So another way to synergize weapons. So Eclipse 187 says, I never use a specialist sidearms. Either do I. I used to use this one, but and it's really because I don't run any fire builds anymore. I just they kind of got played out for me. But there's the other D50 that comes with, I don't have it on this character, unfortunately. So there's the D50, named D50, that comes with Perfect Sadist, 25% damage to targets who are bleeding. I think that comes from the Demolitionist one. That's actually a really good one because the D50 is basically the strongest variant of sidearm in the game. So that one's actually pretty good. So if you're running Ridgeway's Pride, which I know a lot of you guys do, then you should be running the named D50 for that Perfect Sadist. That's really powerful, and it's a D50. You actually, I mean, if you're running a shield build, like if you were running this Bulwark Shield, like this bad boy, and Ridgeway's Pride, you actually want to be running this D50. Unfortunately, I have it on my other character. I just saw it there today because I don't have it in here. But it's really powerful. It's got 25%. It's basically the same variant as the Liberty, right? But instead of shielding up, let me go back. It's in here. So instead of powering your shield and getting those headshots, 2% weapon damage, you can get instant 25% damage to a bleeding target. What is more powerful? Well, you get the 60% more damage from the 2% stacks, right? But you lose all those stacks when you hit a headshot, which then you're starting all over. Does that make sense? But you do repair your shield by 3%, so there's a trade-off there. So if you're trying to buff your shield, that's great. But for pistol builds, you're always going for headshots. So that's what sucks about the Liberty and why I personally don't use it a lot. It's because it's saying that if you shoot your enemy in the head, I am useless except for your shield. And for pistol builds, that's all you want to be doing. They're made to shoot heads. Pistols are made to shoot at the head. So the Liberty says, don't shoot at the head, only to consume the stacks, and only shoot at your head to repair your shield once you're at full stacks, right? So yeah, if you're running a big tanky build or whatever, that's great. But if you want to be an offensive shield, you want to run the named D50 that gives you 25% damage to targets that are bleeding with Ridgeway's Pride, because that's instant burst damage, and you can shoot them in the head too without losing that. But yeah, Survivalist, yeah, that's the one that runs that. So but yeah, they do take up bag space, but you know, if you've activated them once, they're always going to take your bag space up. And what sucks is that if you have more than one character, then it's hard to remember not to activate it, and you only have to activate it once, and then it takes up your bag space and you can't get rid of it again. So I have 2 fire starters, 2 D50s. It's really annoying. So I wish when you deactivated it, it disappeared, but no, it just becomes inactive. No, it's just stupid. But yeah, minor detail, I guess, too. So let's not get too burned out about it. Yeah, Anthony Demar, I did. I got burned out on using fire builds. Pun intended, I'm sure. But yeah, no, I did. I just, you know, I used them at first. That was probably really one of my first status effect skill builds, you know. But I don't like how much ammo you have to use. They duck and dodge a lot out of your burn, you know, and it just kind of gets, you know. But and so you end up like using all your ammo on like one guy, you know. I like riot foam a lot better. I feel like that's better. You just hold them still and shoot them in the face or whatever. It's more useful. Riot foam is way more useful. And you can't damage, you can't hurt yourself with riot foam too. You can kill yourself with the fire. Oxidizer is really hard to use, right? I'm sure everybody, Oxidizer, I do like Oxidizer better though. It's not a status effect, it's a skill damage set, but you know, you can kill yourself with that, and I'm sure we've all done that a few times, and you feel like a dodo. Speaking of feeling like dodos, this is a good place to bow out. So this dodo is headed out for the evening. I really appreciate you guys for joining me on these. It means a lot. It is a good way to support my channel, and that's exactly what we're doing. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you on the other side. Look forward for a busy little week. I got a lot of content to drop you before the new stuff hits, which is going to happen in February. So we're going to keep you busy. Anyways, without further ado, peace. Tux out.